See, you know what the funny thing is you're a Zen triathlon, and I'm like the antichrist of Zen.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, I race on passion, rage, anything I can find fuel on.
And that is just a small preview of this week's guest, America's record holder for the fastest Ironman, professional triathlete, Andrew Starykowicz. All right, let's get started with the show. Here we go.
You are listening to Zen and the Art of Triathlon.
All right, welcome to another great episode of Zen and the Art of Triathlon, the podcast where we give you tons of tips and tricks on how to become a Zen master in the art of endurance sports and triathlon. All right, like we heard at the top of the show, we have pro triathlete Andrew Starykowicz. This is really cool because I recorded this about 2 weeks before his big event, Ironman Texas, is coming up. And we have a great interview. It's about an hour long. And, you know, there's lots of reasons to get Andrew on. He's very opinionated and he's absolutely awesome. And he's just a great interview all the way around. And he's an Uber biker. So I get to ask all kinds of questions about how he has his bike set up. But also, he's a fantastic swimmer and runner. And we go into how he became that way and how he trains. So there's just lots going on there. It's really cool. And then after the interview, I go into how I won the local Gran Fondo, a 100-mile bike race we had here in town. And I went all out trying to win that thing, and I succeeded. So I thought I'd share all my tips and tricks that I used to have a very successful 101, I think, 101.5 mile ride. And a lot of it is usable in Ironman racing. So let's get to that after we cover some triathlon news. Here we go. All right, first up, pro triathlete Jesse Thomas has now won Wildflower 6 times. That is a crazy difficult race. I did it, I think, back in 2007, and I was surprised. Surprise. I was blown away by how hard that race was, and he won it now the 6th time against competition that is pretty stacked. Torenzo Bozzoni is in there. I think Torenzo got second, and that Torenzo is incredible, especially at this distance. It's Wildflower is a half Ironman distance race. They have a bit of an issue with the lake. A major issue with the lake. The swim you have to do the swim and then run 2 miles to the transition area because the lake is dried up so much. That's where they go swim. It's either way down at the end of the lake or another lake or an arm of the lake nearby. And it's just absolutely incredible. So check it out. I think on tryrig.com there's an expo photo series on Jesse Thomas's bike and how he has it set up. So go check that out. And yeah, that's pretty cool. And actually, he's been on this show one time. I asked him all about the aviator sunglasses that is his trademark. He's a really cool guy. So big fan of Jesse Thomas. So congratulations on that. And let's see, Ironman has now said that they're going to do inspections on bikes for mechanical doping. And I remember when this popped up, was it last fall or over the winter? Oh yeah, when cyclocross racing was going on and a girl got caught with a battery and a motor in her bike. And I was in a discussion with other people saying, this is really, really serious. You could easily hide this in your bike and do triathlons this way. And you're out, on the Ironman course, and you just have it help you with a few hills. And the next thing you know, you've got way better legs for running because you didn't have to exert yourself on the bike so much. And I got boohooed a little bit, like, oh, come on, it's not really out there. And boy, is it out there enough where Ironman is going to inspect bikes. I'm not exactly sure what they've decided on how they're going to do it. triathlons might be a little bit easier to do it because in triathlons you're not allowed to switch out bikes. So the bike you end up in T2 with should be the bike that you started off with. And so they'll be able to inspect it in T2 and see if there's any batteries or motors in there. So yes, thank you. Also, Ironman Texas, which we're going to go in detail with Andrew here in a little bit, has had major problems with flooding and the bike course and permitting. It's just ridiculous what's going on with the whole situation. And the bike course that they've settled on lately is short by a good portion, maybe 18 miles. And so many people are so upset about that because there's a threshold, apparently, of, an Ironman can be a few miles short or a few miles long, and people don't mind one way or the other. But then when it hits a critical mass, enough people will go, what? That is not an Ironman now. And so it's like a 94-mile bike ride, and the Ironman, the WTC, which owns Ironman, has said that they are going to let people transfer to another race, and it's all pretty much over by now. But this was far later than what they usually allow people to transfer. They said, we hear you. Some people are upset. Okay, we'll let people transfer to another race. But there's all like the fine print. It's kind of like blackout dates when flying with airline miles. There's only particular races and particular times and stuff. But that was pretty interesting that they bowed on that one. And let's see, the last thing is I've got some Uberman crew starting to get together. I think I've got 4 people that are in to help out. Uberman is in October 20th. We swim from Catalina Island to shore, and that's a 21-mile swim. And then we're going to bike 400 miles over the mountain ranges to Death Valley. And then we're going to run the Badwater 135. I think there's like 8 of us that are in it so far, and I obviously need crew for that, and even the crew is going to need crew to take breaks with all that. And I'm not really planning on biking through the night. I think that's a good way to break your neck or get hit by a car, and use the latest part at night to catch some Z's and refresh, because biking 400 miles is one thing, but biking 400 miles after swimming 21 and before you're going to run 135 is, man, you take a break. That's what I'm saying. Pull over and take a nap and eat, or else you're not going to be able, if you make it to the run, your legs are going to fall off. So I saw that there's a guy in it that has done the Arch to Arch, which is something in London to the English Channel, swim the English Channel, and then bike to the Arch de Triomphe in Paris, however you say it in Francais. And so that's pretty cool. All right, I think that's all of the news. I don't want to wait too long on the Andrew Starkey show. My son calls him the real Starkey. Andrew will like that, hopefully, if he's listening to this. And it's just super cool to have Andrew on. I'm really stoked. And of course, after the interview, we're going to have a little bit of cool training music and then go right into some other stuff. All right, here we go.
Welcome to the next level.
Hey, Andrew.
How are you?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. How's everything in the Zen world?
Either very zen or very unzen, working towards all the time. So what have you been doing today?
Got up, got my daughter ready, dropped her off at my parents' house for the day, and then went and swam.
Oh, cool. That's one of the things I wanted to ask you about. You get so much attention for your bike riding, but you swam at Purdue, right?
No, I've not.
Oh, I thought you swam in college, or?
No, I did not swim in college.
Oh, well, but you played water polo?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. Which makes for awesome skills at mass start, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely helps. It helps for sure. Just being comfortable with people swimming around you, on top of you, really, the biggest advantage is it's not really at the mass start. It's, when you get into the swim and the person next to you don't like how they swim, you feel like they're kind of pushing you out of a pack, or they're just kind of swimming all over, that you can subtly move that person.
Yeah.
Without swimming over them. You could just literally just in one stroke just slide across their back, and they'll notice it, but it's not like you drowned them. And
Right.
Other guys that are good swimmers notice that, and it's like, okay, that's fine. And you're not getting the classic age grouper who suddenly it goes vertical and then all of a sudden is swinging.
Right. Yeah, like an escalation.
Yeah. It's you watch. I really wish they would sit. And granted, now we can do it better than we could before, because before you needed a helicopter, and now we got drones everywhere. It seems at these races. But you can, if you just hovered over like an ITU race or a very competitive Olympic distance or half distance race, you will see just music in motion at the pro level. Guys just really are able to maneuver around a lot more than people realize, and they do it without negatively affecting their other competitors, which is the exact opposite of what happens in the age group field, which when people start moving around, they start pulling on other people. And granted, it's happened a few times to me, but I race a lot, and most of the time it's just, guys just moving around within the pack.
Right. Yeah. I grew up on really competitive swim teams, and also at the neighborhood pool, and with an older brother, just kind of like beating the crap out of each other in the pool all the time. And lots of rough housing and stuff, and also did a lot of surfing. And that background, awesome. I wish my high school had a water polo team. I would have loved it, because I played basketball too, and that would have been a nice combination. And I find that when I start getting crowded with people, it doesn't bother me that much. I just kind of crowd them back a little bit, and then they give you some space without having to resort to swimming on top of.
Right.
So yeah, I totally get it, man. So where did you get your swim background from, though?
I developed it over the course of 4 years in high school. I didn't grow up swimming. The first time I swam competitively or even went off the blocks, I was a freshman in high school, and swam something like a 30-second or 36-second or 38-second 50.
Yeah.
So, and that was freshman year of high school,
Yeah,
and by senior year I was All-American. So, I developed. I had a lot of great coaches who really just push and impress technique into my skull, and that's why largely I credit them for how I race, because I'm emphatic with thinking about technique. And granted, people probably look at my run and it's like, there's not much technique there, but I'm working on it.
Well, where did you go to high school?
I went to high school up in Northern Illinois at Stevenson.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But were you able to go right on the varsity swim team, or did you JV? Were they that big?
Oh, I was freshman, man. I was freshman swim team, and I was, I wasn't even good enough to swim at the JV meets until the end of my freshman year.
Right. But they let you swim with them though, right? Pick it up and.
They had basically our team had, I think we had 4 or 5 levels, so 4 or 5 different coaches.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And I was at the lowest level all the way through most of my freshman year, and then at the end of the year, I had just a really good end of the season, and then I joined a club team and really improved logging yards, long course meters over the summer, and just kind of went from there.
Yeah, we had JV and varsity in high school, and I barely qualified. I remember my older brother, he just walked onto the team when he was a junior.
Okay.
He got cut from the basketball team, and so he'd been swimming summer league swim team, just neighborhood stuff.
Right.
And he made varsity, and immediately his next year team captain. And then he went to Lake Forest College is? Yeah, my brother was a swim team captain at Lake Forest.
Oh, really?
And then I got an offer to swim there too. I ended up going to Texas. But my brother lives in Chicago, and I lived in Chicago 2 summers working construction on the Sears World Headquarters.
Okay. Yeah. Hoffman Estates.
Hoffman Estates, yeah. Yep. So I kind of know the area that. So on your running, you hold the overall fastest record for an American at 7:55, I think, for an Ironman, and which means you've got the all around, the swim and the. It says on your stats that you weigh about 180 pounds is about what I weigh too, and I'm reading that going, how in the hell do you run that fast at 180 pounds, like, blows my mind. So, like, what kind of run training do you, and how do you survive, like, a marathon? Do you have, like, strategies for, like, bigger guys or anything?
My biggest strategy is don't run on pavement.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I do nearly exclusively running on crushed limestone trails. Granted, every once in a while there's a couple sections, a mile here, a mile there, but I mean, nearly all my running is crushed limestone trail, soft surface running. I do a lot of dirt trails, a lot of soft surface. It's I mean, you talk to a lot of people and you tell them to go, run around soccer fields, and they're like, "What is so slow?" I mean, you get on the pavement and you go so much faster. But I mean, for being a heavier guy, it's softer on your joints. And granted, you don't get to push off the explosion that you do on pavement, but being able to run on soft surfaces just preserves your body.
So. But on race day, you're having to run at a really fast. Do you train at that sometimes? You're familiar with it?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, if you can run, I mean, granted, some of the, you get some gravel sections that are really well packed, and you can very much simulate race pace and faster, much, much faster. Very similar to race day, but it's just a softer surface. I mean, a couple of surfaces I run on are basically very similar to the old cinder tracks that they used to race on.
Yeah, but I forgot to ask you, backing up a little bit, how did you get into triathlon at all? You've been a pro since around 2006, right?
Yeah, I got in just after high school on a bad bet. One of my buddies bet that he could beat me in a triathlon, and I told him, sure, whatever. And he egged me on for a couple of years. He was on the swim team also, but he also ran cross country. And I mean, I did soccer, swimming, and water polo. So I mean, he kept trying to get me to do it, and finally, just being a good friend, he convinced my mom to do it. And if one of your friends is doing it and your mom's doing it in high school, you end up doing it. And so I did it, and I mean, I didn't do another one for a year or two, and then in college I started doing them much more seriously. And sophomore year of college, I picked it up again.
Oh, okay. So did you have any biking background before you got into it at all?
Yeah, I mean, I raced in college. I raced cycling in the spring and played water polo in the fall.
Oh, so you've got some at least collegiate level background, like how to train on the bike, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I raced cycling from probably '99 until I got into cycling while I was still swimming very seriously, and then pretty much before triathlon. Actually, right about the time I got into triathlon, I really got into cycling. But 98, 99, I started riding just before the whole Lance Armstrong boom of people riding their bikes, and I raced all the way through, and then in 2006, I kind of had to make it. When I went pro in triathlon, I had to make a decision of how serious I wanted to be as a pro in triathlon, or if I wanted to, to escalate my cycling career. And at that fork in the road, and at that time in my life, I chose triathlon over cycling.
Any regrets over that? You're with the triathlon choice? Loving it?
No, I'm really happy I made the choice I did.
Well, what about that first triathlon, man? Like, how did that end up?
It went well. I think I finished third.
Oh.
I think I finished third in it, and I got out of the water second. And it was a wetsuit legal race, and I didn't have a wetsuit, of course, but I got out of the water well, and then got on the bike and just really rode well, and got off the bike in second place and got run down by somebody. It was a sprint distance race, but got run down by somebody in like the final mile or so. But it was I don't know. I was so new to it that I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and it's a sprint distance race. Really isn't. I mean, at that point, I was doing hour and a half, hour 45-minute swim practices, and this race was an hour. So it's like a blood rush.
Yeah.
Really, I didn't think about it much. I just went out there and just let my body sing.
All right, let's take a break from the interview and talk a moment about our big new sponsor, Salt Stick. All right, I love this stuff because I have been doing Salt Stick and a cousin of Salt Stick just taking salt pills, which are hard to find actually. You have to order them from the pharmacy, and then they show up, and then they don't come in any kind of dispenser or anything like that. You have to put them in a Ziploc and then carry that around. It turns into a real mess, man. But Salt Stick has it covered because they are electrolyte capsules that you can break them open if you want and then shake them into a bottle because they're just capsules. I've done that. And you can take them as needed. It's really, really cool because sometimes you don't want salt. Sometimes you do need salt. But I can tell you one thing for sure. Water doesn't work without enough salt. It just doesn't. It's not sticky. So let me tell you about a cool study that scientists did on triathletes. They gave half of them Salt Stick caps and the other half sports drink, like Gatorade. The athletes that took Salt Sticks finished a 70.3 race in an average of 26 minutes faster than the control group. 26 minutes. That's absolutely crazy. So you got to make your water stick with Salt Stick or else it doesn't work. That's my own tagline. I came up with it. They're going to have to run with that. All right, you can get 25% off your order of Salt Stick with discount code ZenTri25, all caps. ZenTri25. Say it. ZenTri25. All right, and it can be used through the website shopsaltstick.com. Go check it out. 25% off. That is good. Hashtag good. Believe it. All right, let's get back to our interview.
You've been recovering from an injury, and then you came in back and just totally blew away New Orleans a couple weekends ago.
Yeah.
And so you had a labrum tear in your hip?
Yeah, last year I did, and I had surgery on it at the end of 2014. I had to pull out of Hy-Vee and then pull out of pre-race I withdrew from Hy-Vee in 2014, and I withdrew from 70.3 Worlds in Mont Tremblant, and both of those hurt because I was in really good shape going into about a couple weeks before it, and I just all the way through that year, all the way through 2014, I just kept getting injured and having knee, ankle, hip injuries, and I was compensating for what was going on in my hip, and then at Kona I ended up while leading, it just flared up and was just causing excruciating pain, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna be able to run, and just pulled the plug, tried to stretch it out up in Javi, and then just soft pedaled at home just because it was just excruciating pain. And I went through some physical therapy afterwards, and just to try to get, because they just thought it was muscle imbalance or something or another, and because the MRI didn't show anything. So then we did a MRI with dye, and at the end of the beginning of November, and it showed that there's a small spur on the head of my femur tearing into my labrum, and it had made shredded meat of the top of the labrum, and so I had to have surgery and spent all of last spring, 2015 spring, just recovering from that. And came out, tried to race well at Roth, and it was just too much load too soon. Mm-hmm. Raced pretty well at finished third, right behind Lionel and Matt Charbot at 70.3 Racine in July last year, and that was a pretty good feeling. Just being able to come back from an injury like that, and then just to be competitive.
How do you keep sane when your whole world revolves around training and racing? And now, were you able to bike at all, or you had to do nothing with?
You're able to. One of the first things you can do is they want you biking, and cool. So they call that therapy. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, it was therapy. I'm
gonna therapy crazy. The fuck out of this. Hey, sorry, I lost you there for a second.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Generally, it's me that loses it because I'm waiting for a check to clear from one of the race directors to pay the bills.
Correct. Yeah. Somebody was telling me they had to wait. Oh, it's a good friend of mine. Yeah, 11 months.
Yeah, there's some time. It's gotten better over the last few years, but still, sometimes it's 90 days.
Yeah.
6 weeks to 90 days. It's funny.
Yeah. Well, I think in today's world with all social media, you can start calling them out on it. It becomes more transparent and say, hey, we're
they're really going to want you to race the races again if you start calling them out on social media.
Oh, that is the downside, huh?
You really want to bite the hand that feeds you, don't you?
Yeah. So on the recovery, you're able to do bike plenty.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, I was able to. But their idea of bike is like they set it at 50 watts. Yeah. And it's like, they're like, okay, how does this feel? I'm like, it feels like if I let my leg fall, I'm just going to rip my other leg off. Because at first you're just trying to be able to get your hip to move, circulate the blood around it. And, granted, I'm used to doing sets of, 150 to 175 watts single leg riding. Mm-hmm. And here it is. Both legs, and it's 50 watts. So it took a lot of working together with me and the therapist and the doctor. It took a lot of teamwork to just keep a plan. And because they knew that if they gave me, they showed me light, that I would take as much as I could out of it. Mm-hmm. And so they really they did a good job of holding me back, but, giving me enough that I won't go crazy.
Right. You have to say, like, my FTP, it's like almost 400 or 350.
Define FTP.
Let's just say average for an hour, all out race. Like if you did a time trial for an
hour. A time trial for an hour?
Yeah. What would
in a triathlon or
no, just all out.
Time trial?
Yeah, just time.
Okay. That would hurt.
No, what do you think your watts would be like that?
Probably 415, 425, somewhere in there. And maybe a little higher.
You're going to be like, man, I could do 415 for an hour. And like 50 watts doesn't even register on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, but I mean, over the course of a few weeks, we advanced, and I mean, I was able to get, they wanted me to ride 30 minutes a day, 3 times a day. So,
yeah.
And then, gradually they didn't want me riding, too much in a row, but within a couple weeks, we were up to 3 1-hour rides a day.
Yeah.
Which was nice. I mean, granted, I'm talking 2 months out from surgery is when we got to that level.
Right.
So, but at that point, you're looking at February 1st. I was able to ride 3 hours a day, but I still wasn't swimming. And most people thought, you could be in the pool right away.
Yeah.
But I mean, a major swim muscle. You really don't want to engage any muscles in your hips, and even holding a pull buoy, you're engaging a lot of muscles that attach to your hip cradle, and it is a lot. The injury is a lot more detrimental than people think.
Yeah.
Because you can't swim, you can't bike, and you can't run for 6 weeks, and then you slowly, or about the time you could start walking, you could start getting back on the bike, and then swimming is still just a long way off, and then running was, the thing that sucked for me is I finally got cleared for running, and when I got cleared for running, I walked into a door jam and broke my toe. Yeah.
Yeah, and it turns out, because I've done the broken toe thing, a big toe. You need your big toe. You need your toes to run. It hurts like a mother if your toe's broken.
Well, it was the long toe. It was the second toe.
Uh-huh.
And they said it wasn't broken because I went to the doctor a few days later and got an X-ray because my whole foot was blue.
Uh-huh.
And they said it wasn't broken. And then I ran on it all year, and it was just excruciating pain.
Yeah.
All year in 2015, and at the end of the year, I got a second look at it, and it turns out that I had broken it at an angle that it was on the bottom side, where I guess you normally don't look in an X-ray. I guess I don't know. And so so this winter I got to spend the whole winter, and when it broke, 2 little shards had fallen out of had gotten out of there, and they planted themselves just below my second metatarsal, right, between my metatarsal and the ligament. Yeah. So every time I stepped, it was like 2 teeth going into that ligament, and it just
shrapnel
shredded the ligament. And so I had to take a long off season this year to I had laser therapy, I had ultrasound, I had a massage, everything, just trying, because you got to break down the bone that's there. You got to stay off it because you don't want that bone to do any more damage, and you got to wait for the bone to disintegrate. So it just was a long off season this year. Fortunately, I was able to swim and I was able to bike easy this winter, unlike last winter. So I was a little bit ahead of the curve, but I mean, when I finally started running, it was I think March 5th or March 7th, and then I went out to Puerto Rico and I was like, well, I don't have the run training under me, so I did a walk run there, which was kind of entertaining. Yeah. It's kind of entertaining, when you start walking as the leader of the race, people are like, oh, good, keep going. And I'm like, no, this is kind of what I planned on doing.
I've had that happen where people are like, you can do it. And I'm like, I know I can. I'm actually trying to hold back before I kill myself.
Right.
I have a friend that has a hip problem where his hip joint is a little bit too loose. It's like a degenerative thing.
Yeah.
And he kicked it out of joint swimming.
Okay.
He was just swimming along, and he said just all of a sudden it just popped out. And
that just made me like twinge just thinking about it.
Yeah, he said it was crazy. And of course it took like 2 months of therapy, and to get it back where it was supposed to be. And he thought
2 months is a short timeline when it comes to hip injuries.
Oh, yeah. It's
2 months is 2 months. I learned when it comes to hip injuries, 2 months is a blink.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these therapies, I talked to a lot of doctors, and especially after the fall I had last year, where within a year after surgery, I had success at 70.3 in the Ironman distance at the end of last year, and a lot of these doctors are like, you're a bad example, because all of these patients that we are doing surgery on, we usually tell them it's 2 years until you get back to anywhere close to 100%, and here you are racing at this level within a year. And so
I think
they're like you're a great example, but you're a bad example.
Yeah. I think elite athletes, y'all are so aware of your bodies, because you're used to feeling something and knowing that it's wrong.
Well, it's just that also that we're used to breaking our bodies down and getting them to recover.
Yeah.
And that is, I talked to so many age groupers, and they're like, what's the biggest difference between training as a pro versus training as an age grouper? And I tell them, training as a pro versus an age grouper, it's not that different. It's just that it seems that pros are able to go harder on hard days, and when it's an easy day, they're able to not push. They're able to just sit up and ride, and they're fine with letting if they're riding. I mean, I enjoy riding with a bunch of people that are that are 230, 245 guys for a half.
Right.
On an easy day, I'm fine with riding with them. I mean, you want to get your heart rate down around 110, 120, or topping out at like 120 on an easy day. I ride with so many people, and they're like, "Oh, I'm out for an easy ride." I'm like, "Okay, if you're going easy and I feel like I'm pushing, there's a problem."
Yeah. Do you think that it's a personality or a habit that people learn or know or just behave like, and then that allows them to become pros, or it's something that's taught, or like it's kind of natural inborn?
Everybody, it's different. I mean, some people are just so naturally gifted that it's just they're so naturally gifted that they don't have to train right, they don't have to eat right, they don't have to do anything right. They can just go out there, and with decent training, they can compete at the top level. At the top level, I'm saying, meaning just at the professional level.
Right.
To me, there's 3 levels of pros, but at any of those 3 levels of pros, they can, they just are just natural athletes. Where you get other people that do it because they've done it for years, they've trained their body, they've trained everything right, and they've gotten to there.
So you're not a new dad. You've got a daughter that's like 2 years old by now.
Year and a half.
Year and a half, and so that's got to make the whole taking time off and do therapy and recovery like a whole lot better, right? Spend time with your daughter.
Oh man, it is and it isn't. I mean, you're a parent. You have to. You feel like you have to earn a living to have an opportunity for this child to grow. And you feel even worse sometimes that you can't, that you're not a good provider if you can't be doing your job.
Right.
But other times it's when you're spending time with her. I mean, she doesn't care what I've done or what's going on. She just wants to snuggle up against you or wants you to chase her around the house.
Yeah. That's more what I meant. Like, there's the guilt thing, right? Like you're not providing or like that. But as far as the joy of having a kid around. Yeah. So, on the side, do you do any side jobs like consulting or coaching or anything like that to bring in extra money, or you're relying totally on the professional athlete sponsorships and winnings and things like that?
Sponsorships, making money. That's an interesting story.
Yeah.
No, I don't do any. I mean, I've dabbled with coaching over the years, but really, you just got to focus on racing. I mean, you look at anybody at the top level; they are 100% focused on racing.
Right.
You can't. I mean, you don't have the mental energy and the time to do it, and it takes. I mean, training and racing at the top level, it just takes tons of time and tons of mental energy. And I mean, when I'm not training, I'm talking to sponsors, keeping up with just, it's eat, sleep, train, recover. And that's all I do. And then I, get to spend, an hour at night with my wife and daughter and go to bed and get up in the morning and do it again. Yeah. And I found that when you try to take on anything more, it doesn't work. I mean, I did it for the first 4 years of being pro, from 2006 to 2009. I worked full time. I raced at the professional level. I got my butt thoroughly kicked every weekend that I raced. I was racing 18 times a year. And then when I made the jump, and was able to just recover more, I was able to improve a little, at a quicker rate.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, granted, I never would have had the financial backing to make it to the level I've gotten to had I not worked and raced for those years. And in addition, I mean, at that time, I was finishing 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th at the Lifetime races. And those races, you got $1,200, $1,800 for finishing 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Right.
So you're paying for your trips plus, a little extra money, and you're making $800, 5, 7 times a year extra, and that's an extra $4,000 plus all the other races you're doing. Hopefully, you're break even or making a few bucks. And I mean, I look at the pros now that are younger, and I just don't see how they're making it. Because the races don't pay like they used to. There's not as many races as there used to be that pay. There used to be a plethora of smaller races that they were not pro races, but they were age group races, but still paid $1,000, $1,500 for first place. Mm-hmm. And those just aren't as they don't exist like they used to. And so it's just I wish I was maybe 3 years before where I was. Yeah. If I had gone pro in 2003 and had, granted, I mean, basically saying I wish I was born in 1979. I think, that would have been, maybe I would have been financially a little better, but it's a very interesting, it's very interesting looking at the sport now versus 10 years ago versus now 15 years ago.
All right, let's take a break. I want to jump in here and talk about another sponsor of ZenTri, Living Fuel. Living Fuel is awesome. Let me tell you about one of their products. Living Protein is thebomb.com. It's a non-soy vegetarian yellow pea brown rice protein with added fiber, prebiotics, probiotics, perfect for your green smoothies that are likely missing a key macronutrient. Protein! Exclamation point. They put that in there because they knew I would say it. They have it in, they call it tubs, but it's these canisters with a big screw top lid. I add it to my workout fuel, my recovery fuel. It is so good. I had the green, what do they call that green drink? I don't know. I just use it so much. I don't even look at the label anymore. The stuff is so good. I keep it at work. I have a healthy fridge at work, a little micro fridge, a mini fridge, a dorm fridge, and I keep carrots and apples and stuff like that around there, and healthy sprouted wheat bread, sprouted grains bread, and then also living fuel stuff. I love it, man. I also did a long workout last weekend where I put living fuel amino acid mix in with my carbs to give a little bit of protein mix to it. And man, it was really, really good. It worked out great. I had a great workout. So go check out livingfuel.com. They have a huge variety of different stuff. Almost all of it has some kind of fiber or healthy something as the major ingredient, if not the entire ingredient. So you will definitely have a lot of choice in there going and checking them out. And they are a big supporter of ZenTri. They approached us on the show, which I'm a big fan of. They listen. They support us. Help them out. All right, go check out livingfuel.com.
Well, I mean, you do have a kick-ass sponsor with Orbea, with that bike. I
mean, Orbea, Orca, Vision. I mean, you look at most of my sponsors. I've been with them for quite a lot of years, and there's a reason. Because I mean, I've developed great relationships with them, and they've been loyal to me. I've been loyal to them, and I mean, I've taken breaks from some of my sponsors and thought maybe the grass is greener on the other side, but I've learned out there that I have the best sponsors in the sport. They're super supportive. They, I work with them on development of stuff, and I mean it's really just, I mean, with all my sponsors, it's a great relationship.
Yeah, your bike. I recently got a new bike, and I was seriously looking at because of you on it. Your kind of breakdown of why you liked it and such. I've read somewhere you were talking about it and how it works. And it's just my local bike shop doesn't happen to carry it. So I was like, dang it. And because it looks like that's a really smart bike. And like it's easy to assemble for races, disassemble, and the brakes are really accessible and all that stuff, right?
I mean, we basically looked at how much of an advantage or disadvantage having integrated brakes were, and we discovered that really if you design the bike right, the brakes really are, you're not talking more than a fraction of a gram. A fraction, maybe, you're looking at just fractions of grams difference between having the fully integrated brake versus the non-integrated brake. And actually, we put a cowling over the front brake, and we discovered it actually added drag to the bike. So, I mean, everybody says it needs to have fully integrated brakes, and we found that adding a cowling even made it slower. So, granted, every bike is different, but we played a lot with this bike in the wind tunnel. We put cowlings on just to see if covering the brake makes a difference, putting them underneath versus, in the traditional place where we have them, makes a huge difference. And, on that rear triangle, regardless of whether you have a brake there or not, I mean, that is a vacuum. And by putting a brake there, you actually, you fill the vacuum. And, it actually improves the aerodynamics. It's the same thing in the front end. So, and then the other cool thing we found was that fork, with the fork basically bowed out, just does awesome things, aerodynamically. First, for areas where you don't have a zero yaw. I mean, if you have zero yaw, you want the fork blades as close as you can get to the wheel, similar to what you see on the track bikes. But when you start throwing yaw in there, you want some space in there. And it just, we just discovered so much each time we were in the wind tunnel. And just working with Mondragon University in Spain, who did a lot of the design work. It was just an awesome team effort, and to be part of it is really cool. And I mean, I could go on and talk about the carbon layups on the bike and all that stuff for
Yeah, well, I'm a bike
for
geek
a long
too.
time, but
Yeah.
I mean, I was just getting too technical and boring for everybody.
Well, I like also how they when I was looking for criteria for a bike, looking at buying a new the bottle bosses behind the seat.
Yes.
So you could put one of those draft boxes behind it if you wanted.
Right.
It was really cool, and Orbea has that, and top tube bosses. I love it that the stem is one where it's not an integrated stem, so you could get easily switch your angle and reach like no problems. And then you also are sticking with mechanical shifting so far.
Yes.
Is that just for reliability in races?
I mean playing with it, the aerodynamic gain with that Vision rear derailleur is huge. It's got that, I think it's a 15 tooth pulleys. Oh. It's got a 15 tooth pulley down there, and it's it's fast and it's worked well. And then you look at the electric shifting. You got those. The derailleurs are much bulkier because they have that servo motor in them, and ultimately that's the thing that's sailing out there in the wind. True. So you eliminate those, it's definitely I feel an advantage.
Huh? I didn't think so. How else do you have your bike set up for race day? I saw there's a really good picture online of your bike hanging on a rack, getting ready to go. It looks like you have some sort of torpedo bottle between the hands.
Yeah, I got the Torhans Aero Z bottle between the hands, and I go with the Torhans VR bottle on the down tube.
What do you keep in that?
That's just normal fluid. I mean, usually I run a concentrate of, that bottle's got about 300 calories in it. Mm-hmm. I guess I'm a little old school. About 15 years ago, people used to do all their nutrition in one bottle and then sip it. Mm-hmm. And I still like to go with just taking at the aid stations water and having all the nutrition I need on board.
Yeah, in one bottle. In that,
not in one bottle. Yeah. Usually I break it up over a couple bottles. I used to do it in less bottles, but I found that the aerodynamic disadvantage isn't as much as I originally thought it to be, to have stuff behind the saddle. If you put it in the right place and the right location, stuff behind the saddle isn't that detrimental.
So I kind of agree. What I've noticed is if I put it too concentrated in one bottle, that actually hurts my stomach no matter how much water I drink with it. But then if I break it up over a couple of bottles, then it's not as strong on the stomach.
Right, and that's exactly it. So I'll usually go with about 300 calories in a bottle, and I'll pour about half of it at a time into the Aero Z, and top it off. Just keep topping it off with water at each aid station, and just keep that Aero bottle full, because I know if I miss an aid station and I have to drink what's semi-concentrated, I can stomach it without too much detriment. But before, when I had it all the nutrition jammed into one bottle, and it takes 2 or 3 days to disintegrate into a suspension. Yeah. That you couldn't sip. I mean, you would just sit and dehydrate until the next aid station.
Yeah, I've thought about doing that, where in the between the arms bottle, having concentrate, down by my feet, and then pouring that into my, I have a torpedo, and pouring that between my hands to dilute it into that, and then drink it from there. That's cool that you do that. I've been thinking about trying that.
It's something that I found works for me. I mean, I've done it for years. I did it with the vertical bottles, and now I've gone to a horizontal bottle. Mm-hmm. It's what works for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So on your tires, do you ride tubulars or latex and clinchers, or what do you ride?
I bounce back and forth between tubulars and latex clinchers. It just depends on the course, the pavement conditions, the amount of corners, all that stuff. Tubulars handle a lot better, and they do a lot better on rougher roads. Where if you got on flat, straight roads, the flat, straight, better paved roads, the clinchers work just a lot better.
Huh. Did you put sealant in them before a race, or?
I have, but I mean, I feel it doesn't make a crap of a difference. I mean, I've had sealant in tires and they still blow out. So
yeah, me too.
sealing will work maybe in a place, if you're racing in the desert or a place like Kona.
Uh-huh.
But here in the Midwest, if you cut a tire, you're usually just ripping the whole tire apart on a huge stone or something. It's not a small puncture where it's like a thorn or something that you would find in the desert or out in a place like Kona.
Yeah, my last flat I had sealant in it, latex tubular, and just took a corner on an overpass, and all of a sudden, 50 feet later, the whole rear tire is shredded. I ran over a piece of metal that was just cut through the whole thing. It just everywhere.
But,
so, let's see. When you go out on your training rides around the countryside around Chicago, how in the world do you average like the kind of speeds that you do without crashing? Because it's like I've noticed on my training rides when I start getting up into the averages of the lower 20s that these tri bikes, like you got to really watch out for turns and traffic and potholes, and like your speeds are so fast that traffic's not really expecting you to be that fast. Do you ever have trouble with that?
Yeah, I have. I've definitely had problems with traffic underestimating the speed that I'm going. And sometimes I get traffic very frustrated with me because of the speed I'm going.
Yeah.
It's easy to pass somebody who's going 18. It's not easy to pass somebody that's going 30.
Right.
And I've paid the price a few times with vehicles, but mainly I live far enough out that I'm where the suburbs meet the farm fields. So a lot of my training is out in the farm fields.
Yeah.
I have a few good loops that are shorter, but most of the time, once I get out past Woodstock or past Crystal Lake, I get into some rural areas where I'll see more tractors than I will cars.
Right.
On many of the roads, so I'm able to really just let it unwind. And the cool thing is I have one road that I love to ride, and it's got one stop sign for 30K, and that's just you're able to do a lot of good training on that, and it's well paved. But I also enjoy. But the other thing I do is on my road bike, I actually don't ride. I usually don't ride my road bike very often. I actually have a touring bike that Orbea makes. They have a disc brake touring bike, the Avant, that I love. And I'm able to put 28s or 30s on it and just go out and ride on that, because a lot of the country roads are just, they're a little rougher. They you get heavy tractor equipment and truck traffic on it. So they beat up the roads pretty good. But with a little more rubber underneath you run, 75, 60 PSI. You may go a little slower, but at the end of the day, you're not beat up from riding a rodeo.
You don't have a broken arm from crashing.
Well, yeah.
So do you ride outdoors year round, or do you spend a lot of time on the trainer?
I don't spend very much time on the trainer.
Okay, so year round out there in Chicago, pretty much.
Yeah, so. I really love riding outside. I don't know if I would still be racing pro if I had to do it all on a trainer. I think I would have quit a while ago, because to me the joke is that we call it the drainer, and because it just drains the life out of you. I don't know how a lot of these guys do it just sitting staring at a TV or staring at a computer, training on it. I had to do it last winter and for a while, and I had to do it last winter for a long time, almost the whole winter I spent on the trainer, and it was sucked. It sucked. I hated riding, and I spent a lot of time this winter, and I got a Wahoo kicker because my wife does all of her riding on it, and I liked. The Wahoo kicker definitely makes it a little better, but it's just. Zwift helps a little bit, but I love riding outside.
So on that touring bike, do you have it set up kind of like a triathlon bike? Like, does it have clip-ons on it? Or? No,
it's a road bike.
Okay.
It's set up in my standard road position. Yeah. I do most of my riding on a road bike. Just as I get closer, I do my threshold rides on a time trial bike, and then I'll do my long rides and my threshold rides on my tri bike when we get closer to races. But a majority of my riding is on a road bike.
On race day, where do you keep your bike computer?
Is it like up close to your hands, or is it?
I bring one. If I bring one, it's just up towards the front of the whatchamacallit, the arrow bottle.
Yeah.
But many times I don't even race with one. I just get something that can detect my heart rate, and I'll just race off heart rate.
Oh, cool.
I mean, if you think about it, if you look at, when you're driving,
yeah.
If you want to get optimal fuel mileage, you keep the gas pedal at one place, at one location, and you watch your speed will articulate about 3 to 5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing for how I race. I mean, I keep my heart rate, my engine at one pace, something that I know that's going to suit me well in the end of the race.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll let my power go up 25 and down 25 watts is based on how the body feels.
Right. That's pretty cool. I totally expected you to ride by power or something like that, but by heart rate. Yeah.
I mean, and there's a lot of races where I barely even look at the computer, and I just go on feel, and I'll look down and be like, "Ooh, I need to back off."
Yeah. Well, let's hop over to questions from listeners.
Okay.
Let's see. Eric Swanson is asking, did you make Dark Mark by dinner after you did such a heroic carry with him from away that?
No, I didn't. I wouldn't make somebody who just got hit by a vehicle buy me dinner. I've been there, and I tried to persuade him to switch over to the dark side and ride a fast bike, unlike the parachute he's been riding, but he wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I teased him about that bike too.
Yeah, well, if the bike can't stop very quick, hence he got hit by a car.
Yeah.
Or he ran into the side of the car.
Yeah. I said, oh, look, did the bike get totaled? Maybe you could get another one. So let's see. Chris H. wants to know about this ride post to Strava. I guess it's 2 days after New Orleans.
Okay.
Where you went out and rode, I guess, 100 miles.
Okay. 2 days after New Orleans, I think I rode 110.
Oh, yeah. So were you
I thought you would have asked me about the week before.
No, it's
okay.
trying to
because between Galveston and New Orleans, I rode 140 miles on that Tuesday.
Dang. Well, maybe it is. I'm trying to look to see the date on it. But anyway, you're.
Was the ride in Texas or was the ride in Illinois?
Illinois.
Oh, so yeah, that was after New Orleans.
So 177 kilometers.
Yeah, it's 110 miles.
Yeah. So legs not sore, or you just felt excited? You did so well in New Orleans. You're gonna go out and have a great ride.
Tuesday is my long ride day, so I just I raced hard. I went basically did just above a threshold effort on Sunday, and recovered. I flew home Sunday night, recovered on Monday, and went out and just resumed picked up my training right where I left off on Tuesday.
That's awesome. So Emil Jot, is asking. They're doing their first Ironman in 3 months.
Okay.
And what's the best tip? But I guess it totally depends on where. Well, I guess it's their first, so a little bit of knowledge there.
The best tip I ever got was from my godson's mother. She said, there's different times in a race that you're going to feel great, and you just got to embrace those times where you really are enjoying yourself and feeling great. And then there's other times that are really going to suck. And when you're in that really going to suck phase, you just say, okay, I've done the training. My body's going to come around. I'm going to feel good again, and just put one foot in front of the other, and just wait for it because the body's going to cycle through, and I'm going to feel good here in a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I had a really good coach tell me one time for my first one, just commute to the 5K. Like the 5K at the end of the marathon is the race, and until then, just don't even try for your first one. Yeah, just hold back. So that's my advice. You definitely with the ups and downs, right? Once you know that you're going to feel like crap, but it'll go away if you take care of yourself, then you'll feel great again.
Yeah, I'm still working on the feeling great part in an Ironman.
All right, I want to jump in one last time and give a shout out to Amrita Bars, longtime sponsor of ZenTri. Great stuff. I wonder how many I've had today. At least one. I think I had one today after my swim. Oh man, apple cinnamon. That's so good. They have so many different flavors. They have a recovery bar, a maca chocolate. Oh my God, it's the best. You know what? One thing I really love about Amrita Bars is the wrapper is like it's kind of like a Cliff Bar or a Lara Bar, where you can kind of easily open one end of it, and then you can take a bite. You can eat like a third of it, just a bite, and then fold the wrapper back over the bar, and then put it back in the leg of your cycling shorts, and then keep on pedaling. It really works. And then you chew that bite, and that'll last you, for a while, for like 20, 30, 40 minutes. And then you pull the wrapper out of the top of your cycling shorts again, down by your knee. You pull it out, work the bar. I'm doing this with my hand. Can you hear that? Work the bar forward a little bit, take another bite, wrap it back up, put it all into your leg again. And then you have whole bars still in the wrapper behind your back. And you just pull them out of your cycling jersey, and they're easy to chew. They're not like this dry, powdery stuff where you take a bite, and then when you breathe in the dust from dry, powdery stuff plus the wind coming in your face while you're running or biking, all of a sudden you start choking on it. Ah, my God, I think I'm dying. What happened? Oh, I wish I had an Amrita bar instead of this. Oh, my God. See? Don't do that. Don't choke on stuff while exercising. Chew on Amrita bars. Don't choke, chew Amrita bars. That's my new tagline. They're going to have to run with that. Okay. They also have a club. It is called the Amrita Club, of course. AmritaHealthFoods.com/product/Amrita Club. Go check them out. They have all kinds of cool stuff. And also, the discount code for ZenTri is, I don't know, is it 20% off? Is it 10% off? You're going to have to go and find out. It could be 100% off. You don't know, but it's not. But anyway, the discount code is ZEN2016. Go to AmritaBars.com, AmritaHealthFoods.com actually, and go check them out. And check out all the pictures and all the cool kit and all the great socks and jerseys and neat stuff they have. I love it. You should love it too. All right, let's get back to the interview.
Let's see. Ryan Clayton says you're his favorite pro, and he's saying he
better be.
Yeah. It's like, well, dude, is there a question? And then he's asking why you don't have a triathlon-specific coach. Does that mean that you have coaches like just for running and a coach for biking? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so why?
Well, this is my favorite, one of my favorite topics. It's like, so when you go to have surgery, do you want to have the doctor that does your surgery? Do you want him to be the anesthesiologist, the doctor, and the the plastic surgeon that sews you back up? Or do you want those to be three different people?
You're making me feel like it's like the doctor that puts a leather strap in your mouth and gives you a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Civil War doctor.
Exactly. And that's kind of how I feel about it. I think, having a run coach, it's a dedicated run coach, he knows running. Mm-hmm. And, you have a bike coach that understands biking and knows biking. And, and it's not like all three of my coaches don't communicate with each other.
Right.
So, as long as we continue to have good communication, which we do, and it shows that we're having success with it. And it's what works for me. It doesn't work for everybody. No, probably won't work for everyone. But I find we've been really successful with it.
That's really interesting. Yeah, you go out of your way to make sure they're talking.
You have to.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, you've got three experts, but all telling each other that's pretty cool.
Yeah. You don't want to have an anesthesiologist trying to sew you up, and you don't want to have a doctor trying to give you anesthesia.
Right. Or a veterinarian.
You could. I'm sure he read a book on it at some point in his life.
So what about, let's see, I guess our last question is Ryan the Elf King. That's a question. It says, do you run solely off the crushed sweat and competitor?
Yes. See, you know what the funny thing is you're a Zen triathlon, and I'm like the antichrist of Zen.
Oh, yeah?
I race on passion, rage, anything I can find fuel on. I don't find fuel in.
Huh.
I really don't. I find, and I do best when I want to go out there and I want blood. I want to beat somebody. That's how I race best. So.
But
So yeah, I do really race well I race well on breaking people's dreams.
Well, the funny thing is, you don't know, is actually I started doing Zen stuff because I'm so hyper competitive that I needed something to turn it off sometimes.
No, you really don't. You just need to fuel it properly.
You fuel it properly? Like, I was doing a trail run and the woman in front of me fell down and broke her leg. Oh, that sucks. And I'm like crazy competitive. Crazy. So how do I fuel it more properly?
I mean, you just gotta, in that situation, you ask the woman if she's all right. She tells you no, and you got to make a decision of whether, are you going to continue your race or whether you're going to help her. But that's an extreme situation that you bring up there. You just really got to, each workout, take everything that's happened today and really channel it. Really just channel it positively, because it's very easy to take things that are going on around you and let it affect you negatively. Mm-hmm. And if, let's say, you're doing a race, and for example, myself, 70.3 Austin last year, I at the, was it 28 mile mark? No, 29, 30 mile mark. Mm-hmm. I got a couple minute lead. I flatted.
Right.
And it was one of those where, I could have thrown my helmet and gotten pissed off that how can this happen? I've busted my butt for so long and trying to get healthy here, and I'm finally healthy and having a great race, and here I am, I flatted.
Right.
But I just immediately got off the bike and started changing the tire. And changed the tire and fell. I don't know. I think it took me 4 minutes to change a tire. Mm-hmm. It's 4 minutes from the time I stopped to the time I was back on the bike rolling. And, I lost the race by 90 seconds. But, never during that whole race or thereafter was I ever thinking about, that I was pissed off that I got a flat tire.
Right.
I mean, the whole time I am focusing on the moment and how can I do better in the moment. And that's the thing is you got to be able to shut that off. And it's not zen, because, that having that flat tire fueled me. I mean, I had the best run that I've ever had off the bike there.
Right.
But if I would have been pissed off, I never would have had a good run. I mean, I got off the bike and I had the rage of hell inside of me. And I chased Sam Appleton, and I think he beat me by like 75 or 80 seconds. I chased him for a good 12 or 11 miles, and then at mile 11, I'm like, well, I'm racing Ironman Arizona next weekend. I think I probably better shut this shit down and save something for next weekend. But that one was one where it's a perfect example of I'm an ultra competitive person, but hey, I got a flat tire, I got to fix it. And I use that to fuel me positively instead of being like, oh, son of a gun, I got a flat tire, this sucks, and poor me. That I just went out there and, hey, it doesn't matter, I'm going to try to win this race.
Yeah, well, a lot of Zen is appropriate response, being really aware, and saying that I should hold back because I've got this race coming up. This flat could have happened to anybody. Focus on fixing it, and like you were saying, being in the moment correctly at the time. So it's kind of a mix what you're doing there.
Okay.
And I've definitely found that if I'm in a race and I don't have a competitor that I'm wanting to crush, I don't race anywhere near as fast.
Yeah. See, and that's kind of perfect example.
Yeah. And my best races are totally when there's a guy it's pretty equivalent, just maybe a little bit faster than take them out.
How do you do on those?
Oh, way better, man. My heart rate will drive way higher on the run. I'm willing to really push it all the way to the limit and come across a completely spent.
Yeah, and that's exactly, yeah.
And if there's not, then I kind of treat it almost like a training day and just looking for.
There's no such thing as a training day.
True. Yeah, man. Well, it's been awesome having you on. Thank you. Did I miss anything? You want to talk about anything else, or you got sponsors that we didn't get to, or what's your next race?
I'm doing Ironman Texas. I'm going down in your neck of the woods, and gonna swim in the muddy water down there and do a little crit bike style course. It sounds like we're gonna have, and then I heard a rumor that you guys are about to get into a hot snap, and it could be 95 degrees for race day.
Oh man, if it is, you've raced Ironman Texas before, right?
No, I have not.
Oh man, well you've raced really humid, hot stuff. If it gets hot and humid down here, it is unbelievably bad.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, if you can handle it, then other people just come apart. I was reading your race report on, I guess it was New Orleans. Yeah, I think it was New Orleans, and it was like super windy and crosswinds.
Yeah,
and you were like totally into it. And
yeah, I love. Hey,
Yeah.
I am a windmill. I really love windy weather. It was funny. I was going to tweet a couple days after the race. Was it the 110-mile ride or was it the 30 miles the next day? I don't remember. Mm-hmm. But one of the days, it was just brutal wind. I'm trying to think. One of those days, it was just, and I was thinking about, it's a good day. It's a good thing that I went to New Orleans and had that windy day there because it was perfect warm up for today. I mean, we're just out in the country. Granted, in New Orleans, it was coming straight off the water, so it was steady.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really didn't think the wind at New Orleans was that strong until I turned around and caught the tailwind.
Right.
And that's when I realized that, oh boy. I mean, I shifted around on the saddle, and I mean, I remember there was a couple times less on the bike, more on the run, where I would grab a bottle or grab a cup on the run and toss it into a garbage can, and it would just literally just blow away. It was going faster than I was. And but it was just one of those awesome sensations. I mean, there were sections there where we had a straight tailwind. I mean, I was cranking out. I was up on power, and I mean, I was at 115 RPM in the 5511 and just flying back.
So
it's an awesome sensation, but then those little cracks and bumps in the road, they're like launching ramps. I mean, there was one that I was like, if there would have been any crosswind at all when I hit it, I mean, I would have ended up on somebody's roof.
Yeah.
As it looked like a little crack or bump in the road, and I just launched off it. It was just like, whoa. But just the wind, racing with the wind is, it's a huge advantage for me. And unfortunately, they're switching around your Texas course, so I don't know whether it's going to be a windy course or one that's sheltered from the wind, or I don't know what it's going to be. But I'm just hoping. I'm hoping for a miserably hot day because it always seems those tougher days suit me well.
Yeah, I do. It's really windy. I'm in College Station, like an hour and a half outside of Houston, and it's super windy here all the time. And I'll go out on rides and hear like kind of struggling. Man, you need to ride outside more because you get used to it. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
For Ironman Texas, what are your goals for that besides just winning? Is there any like pros that you've got your sights on or that you're looking out for, or any other goals?
I mean, the biggest goal is to get enough points in that race to go to Kona. That's the biggest goal there. I mean, the number one goal is to get the points for Kona, and the number two goal is to win. So.
Right. In that order.
It's kind of sucks that it's not the other way around, but that's kind of the position we've been put in by the current point system that WTC has. A lot of us now race to get to Kona, and then we'll race within the race, based on our level of security. Based on that. On the flip side, the goals there is, I want to have a good swim, and a successful bike would be coming off the bike with a 15 to 20 minute lead.
Yeah.
If it was a one loop, good road, straight course like Galveston or New Orleans or Florida or Arizona, where you get long stretches without being able to break your cadence or break your rhythm, I would say that I'd love to be around 4, if not under 4, but it doesn't look like we're going to have that opportunity on this course. And then the run will be the run. It's just especially if it's a hot day, and just pull those shoelaces tight and hold on for dear life.
The run, I can give you a little preview of that because I've done it a bunch of times. It's it'll probably be 3 loops if they keep it, and it's a mix of a paved trail that goes along a road and through the woods, like just a bike trail through the subdivision. Mm-hmm. A little bit of shade out there, and then it kind of wraps around the lake.
Right.
And so it's a little exposed out there, and then it goes to, like, this Woodlands has like a little artificial downtown right on the canal.
Okay.
And you run through that, and that can get kind of hot and exposed. A lot of concrete and glass, and but the crowds in that area are awesome. So it's kind of like Galveston in that it's a lot of crowds cheering you on in certain places, but then also there's a section that kind of goes off.
Okay.
So
cool.
Yeah, and very flat.
Okay.
So cool, man. Well, it's been an honor having you on.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All right, that was a little bit of Jane's Addiction, coming to you from, I believe, 1988, from the Nothing's Shocking album. And that is an awesome, awesome song. That was the same song I used to listen to in high school right before I had to swim, like, say, the 50 or the 100 yard freestyle and swim meets. I'd put that on my Walkman or whatever I had back then and crank it up and get super amped for a sprint. And yeah, it really, really works. So again, check out Jane's Addiction's old stuff. Really cool. All right, let's go ahead and hop into, real quick, I don't want to spend forever on it, but it is useful stuff. The tips and tricks I use to win the local Gran Fondo 100-mile bike race. And I used tricks that I picked up from doing years of Ironman racing and long bike rides and pacing and strategy. And I collected my thoughts afterwards to share with everybody on what I did and what works, so that you can use it for both long bike rides and for bike races and for Ironmans and half Ironmans. This stuff's good for all around, all kinds of stuff. And I'm in a room that's definitely echoey. I'm sure you can hear it. I don't know if I can muffle it at all. Maybe does this help? Okay. But anyway, first off, again, props to Kai for riding 40 miles with another kid. That is really crazy. The whole Gran Fondo for BCS stands for Bryan College Station, was put on to raise awareness and raise funds for the cancer clinic, and for probably some to go to a particular patient. And they raised $130,000 in over the course of a few days, and through all the charity donations and people signing up for the bike ride. I think there was a 40 and a 70, maybe a 20, the 100, and then there was the 500-mile gravel version, which was just crazy. And I got to see, I think it was Team Todd, I think it was for Todd, was the guy, and he was up and walking around, and it's really memorable and weird and emotional to see a guy that everybody knows is terminal, including him, and just walking around and doing his thing, and just to know that somebody amongst you isn't going to be here in a year or whatever, for sure, is a little bit inspiring, and reminds you to live, do the most you can today, because you just never know. So, yeah, it was heavy. He was at the finish line, which was super cool. All right, so my strategy was I wanted to win if possible, because you never know who's going to show up. But I wanted to pay it back to my local bike shop, Aggieland Cycles, for giving me a bit of a deal on my bike, probably between $500 and $1,000 off my bike, because I'm always an advocate for this bike shop, because they're the local bike shop. And they've got competition moving in from Houston, and they've been my bike shop since probably 93, 94, and I've bought so many bikes through them, and they're just great. And I love them, and I know the owner, and I always try to support them as my local bike shop. And since they were supporting me back, I wanted to be worthy of, even though I don't have the bike yet, I wanted to be worthy of the discount that they're giving me. They're kind of like sponsoring me in a way, and I feel like that. Well, I don't want them to be sponsoring. Feel like they're sponsoring just some chump, Like, this guy really tries really hard, and so I was like, I'm going to try to go out and win this whole thing. And then they'll be like, "Oh, right, Brett's a good guy. I'm glad we're sponsoring him, right?" And they were also one of the sponsors of the race, and that was pretty cool too. So Aggieland Cycles, big shout out to you guys. So I went into it, I was going to win the whole 100 was my strategy. So first thing, secret weapon number 1 was a Camelback, a 70-ounce Camelback. And the reason I did this is through a little bit of kind of asking some questions and just kind of the feel of things. It seemed like the aid stations were going to be set up so you had to actually get off your bike to get water. And they had, I think, 6 aid stations. So I was like, well, if I never have to get off my bike, or if I reduce the number of times I have to get off my bike, that's a minute or two each time that I won't have to stop, and other people will, to get water. So load up the Camelback, and I had like a water bottle between the aero bars, right? This is good strategy for Ironman. And because we learned in Ironman, one of the coolest things about my first triathlon that I ever did, that I thought was so awesome, what made triathlon special, is that we fly through aid stations on the bike, and they hand water up to you, and you grab it with your hand as you go flying through. I'd never seen anything like that before in my life. And back in 2003 or whatever, when I did my first ever one, and I was like, dude, we are really racing. This is super cool. And that's so invigorating, And oh, hold on, I gotta take a break for dinner. I'll be, well, let me finish this one. So don't ever get off the bike, and just like an Ironman, which I've learned through Ironmans, several minutes saved there. Secret weapon number 2 was to bring a map with me. There's a good chance that to get lost because it's the first time they were running this course. And if I don't get lost, that saves me time. If other people do get lost, that counts against them and not against me. So if I have a map, I'm either not getting lost or other people are getting lost and I'm not getting lost. So either way, I'm winning. So I needed a map. And then secret weapon number 3 is to know the wind direction for the day and also the temperature. All right. And I'll come back in a second. We'll pick this up. All right. I'm back. Spaghetti and meatballs. All right. So yeah, secret weapon number 3 is the map and know the wind direction. Okay. So I got up that morning and the race started, I think it was going to start at 7 or 7:30. And so I made my fuel. I had 2 different fuel bottles. So you can put stuff in a bottle and shake it up, or you can go crazy and put it in a blender, and that way it's mixed up really well. And that's what I just did. I threw a Gatorade and maltodextrin powder, which you can buy powdered Gatorade, and you can really concentrate it. And maltodextrin powder, which is essentially a gel. It's way cheaper than buying gels, and so that's what I did. And I put that in a blender with water, blended it, poured it into an Aero bottle down on the frame. And then, so that's real fast acting fuel, right? And so then I made a bottle of slow acting fuel that was going to be my base that I was going to use, and then use the fast acting as needed on top of it, right? And my slow fuel was UCAN and Hornet juice and a little bit of green tea, matcha powder for caffeine, and salt for Salt Stick and Duralights. Or no, Duralights is a different brand. I was using Salt Stick anyway, and a little bit of sea salt as well in there. And what's cool when I was making it is you can do Salt Stick capsules and just break them open. And that's really neat. I like it that you can do that. Thanks, guys. And just put that in a bottle, and I had the little steel shaker ball in the bottle as well, because UCAN settles really badly and really quickly, and it's very difficult to keep in suspension. So adding one of those mixer ball things that you get with one of those drink bottle things you buy at the grocery store, I had that in there and to shake it up, right? Okay, and before the race, about half an hour, I timed it, half an hour before the race, I took a shot of UCAN and Hornet juice. Yeah, right about then. And that was so that it's in my system at the race start. And then I'm at the start line, and Emily and Kai are way further back. There's tons of people, and we're all lined up in the street. It's beautiful. It's a great day. You know, you do the American anthem, and they do a prayer a lot of times in the South, like Texas, and just getting ready. And I turn on my bike computer, and the day before I had hooked up my bike computer to my computer to try to put a map on it, and it failed. It wouldn't take it, and it was a Garmin 510. It wouldn't take it. There's this weird error that some people get, and so I gave up on that. Well, it turns out that doing that, my bike computer decided to update itself, or maybe I updated it to the latest version, and of course it lost all of its settings. So the screen was just the standard screen, and I have eight rows, 8 boxes of information on my screen. It had lost the pairing with my power meter, and your power meter does cadence and speed and all that stuff, and it lost my heart rate strap, like nothing. It was just like the dumbest bike computer you could possibly have all of a sudden right in front of me when I powered it on. And I was like, what in the world? And there was a little bit of a delay. They were waiting for somebody important to show up or something. And so there was a little bit of a delay in the start. So I was sitting there fiddling with it. But on my wrist, I still had my Garmin 920 XT. And on that, the day before, because the map wouldn't load, and I got the map from Map My Ride or something like that, and I'd loaded it into the Garmin on my wrist and kind of played around with it so that I was kind of familiar how to zoom in and zoom out. And but it's really difficult though. But it turns out it was totally worth it. And I still had that, and that at least had, but it's hard to see. It's on my wrist, right? But it had the main screen had heart rate, watts, and time elapsed. And then on the bike computer, I still had time in miles on it, like distance. So I had some information, but not. I had the very, very basics. But this is really good. Unfortunately, I mean, this kind of crap happens on race days sometimes, and so you need to be cool and collected and work up until the last minute trying to fix it, and also trying to find workarounds and not throwing a fit and getting upset. I just kind of kept to myself, and I was like, dang, man, I got to work on this. You know, it always happens at the worst possible time, always. And this was the worst possible time, and I was just working with it, right? And around me, I heard a lot of people talking, and there's some teams, and there's a lot of road bikes, very few triathlon bikes, but some nice tri bikes, and people from all over, from Houston, Dallas, and Austin. So while I'm working on my main bike computer, my 510, trying to get things to pick up, I was listening to the conversations around me, trying to pick up on like people's strategies or what was kind of going on. And what was really funny is I'm like, okay, well, I'm wearing my power meter has been spinning, and my because I had to ride over to the start like a quarter of a mile or something like that, and I've had my heart rate strap on, so it's on. So pair, that's what you call it when you pick up your stuff. I'm like, okay, pair, and it goes something like there's more than 30 heart rate straps around right now. Please move away from them so that you can pair with your heart rate strap. And I was like, oh my God, I'm at the starting line of a huge bike race and everybody's wearing a heart rate strap. So it can't find mine because of everybody else. I mean, it was so ridiculous. I was like, oh my God. So I gave up on that because we're all lined up, ready to go. I'm down to the last second, like trying to fix this stuff. And I should also say the days before the race, on purpose, because I was going to use this as Ironman training as well, I had run 45 miles in the previous 5 days. I'd run 9 miles a day for 5 days. So I went into this with legs that were on the edge of not feeling great. So this was going to be a really good training day for me. And I did that, like I said, on purpose to treat it. It's not my A race, so treat it like a B race and train through it. And it hurting is really good training, mental training for a race day on an Ironman. And then let me hop over to this. They started, and I was in the first group, and we took off, and I just started riding immediately like it was a training ride. This other guy later, he told me, he goes, man, you just took off like a bat out of hell. I was like, is that what it looked like? Because I was just riding. He's like, yeah, everybody was like scrambling to try to keep up with you. And I thought, I wonder if they were doing that thing. A lot of roadies do this thing where you start off kind of casual on a big group ride, and then you accelerate as things start picking up, and they start going crazy, once they kind of get rolling. But I just started off at race pace, 100-mile race pace, which isn't all that fast, but it was a race pace. And it was downhill at the start. And since I weigh 180-something pounds, it's easy for me to accelerate. Like, I guess, I had gravity working with me or something. Anyway, it was the first few miles had a lot of hills, just up and down and up and down. And what's funny is on on a triathlon bike because it's heavier and because I'm heavier, and also because I've done all this training about pacing and stuff like that. I know not to crank it up hills. There's a group on road bikes that would pass me on the uphills, and I could have easily kept up with them, but I've learned to not do that, that I'll catch them back on the downhills and on the flats, and that rushing up the uphills is a good way to burn out your legs early on. And so I would let them pass me on the uphills, and that's a really good strategy to remember for race day. And just keep everything really even. You work the uphills, but you don't work them like too hard. Just real gentle, just a little bit harder than you would on the flats. And turns out that's faster. There's a big article about that online. I should find that and post a link to it. It's really cool. So yeah, I could feel my legs kind of hurting a little bit. And then we get on to this flats. We're now in the river valley bottom, and it's really flat for a long time, but we're riding into the wind. And I knew from researching which way the wind was going to blow that day that the out was going to be into the wind and the back was going to be with the wind. And it was pretty windy. I had 10, 15, maybe gusts up to 20 or something like that, miles per hour. So I just... on the flats, I was just, in the arrow position and cranking along, and it was so funny. There's a group that had formed a train behind me, trying to keep up and stay in my draft. And every once in a while, they would pull up next to me, like they were going to take a turn at the front. But then they probably could have some, but I never gave a sign that I wanted to take a turn in the back and relax, because I'm treating this as a training day, and in an Ironman you can't draft, so I just need to practice, riding into the wind, and that's what I was doing, and I was cool with it, I wasn't looking for shelter, and after a while, this one guy pulled up next to me and he goes, "Man, you're a beast, dude." I was like, okay, I guess so, and I was just pedaling along, and I was working. But I was just doing my own thing, and we were going into the wind like that for a long time. And turns out, looking at my heart rate graph and my because my watch captured it, heart rate graph and the watts, I averaged 240 watts for the first hour and a half riding into that stuff. And with a train behind me of guys, and so it was really funny, and just consistent, just on a flat into the wind. And then at some point during that, I reached back behind me to grab my, probably about half an hour to 45 minutes in, to grab my my slow fuel. And I talked to the guy after the race, and he said it was kind of funny that I reached back and with my hand to where the bottle was, and there was no bottle. And my hand kind of waved around. I reached until I hit I've got two bottles behind the seat, until I reached even further and hit the second bottle. And then my fingers went into the empty bottle cage, and I was feeling it. And then I shook my head and going, damn it, I lost my slow fuel that was going to be my big test for the day to see how this stuff, really worked out. And it was expensive, man. It's Hornet juice, UCAN. Those are all not, the cheapest stuff out there. And the steel shaker ball inside that I borrowed from somebody to use, and the bottle, an Amrita Bars bottle, just gone. And a guy pulled up next to me, and he goes, "Yeah, man, you lost that bottle a while back." And I go, "Crap, like how long ago? When did I lose it?" And he goes, "Like on the first mile." I was like, holy shit, really? And he's like, "Yeah, you were going so fast that it just like flew off of it. You hit a bump and it flew off the bike." And I go, "Oh, well, I guess maybe after the race I can swing back by and go pick it up. Since it was on the first mile, I'll be able to find it." And he goes, "Oh no, man, when it hit the ground, it blew up, man. It just went everywhere. It's all over the place." And I was like, "Oh, crap." So slow fuel plan out the window, right? And so now we're working with fuel bottle number 2 that had like 250 maybe 350 calories per hour in it, and enough for the whole. Maybe not for the entire ride, but it had a good amount of calories in it. And I'd been working with, I pre-fueled for the race with some stuff too. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna have to do what we're gonna do. It's all about minimizing damage. And I could definitely tell that on the first part of the ride, like riding into all that 240 watts for the first hour and a half, just cruising into the headwind and feeling great. I mean, that was Hornet Juice and UCAN working great. I was working really, really good. And that was great stuff. But I was a little bit worried because my slow fuel also had caffeine in it. And so I was going to be going with no caffeine. And that's going to get ugly. But let's see, while riding in the wind, it's really hard to look at my watch. I couldn't look at my watch at the map on my watch because that takes the whole screen and it's tiny anyway. And get my heart rate and watts at the same time, right? It's one or the other. And I needed this map because I didn't know where I was going, and we're out on the front, and the signs for where to turn are actually pretty small, and I just left it on the map so I would know where to turn. And then that's where the Zone 3 breathing tip that I've got really came in handy. If you're huffing for air, you're starting to get into Zone 3. You're dangerously close to peaking out, and you need to back it off some if you're doing something long. So I found myself kind of pursing my lips and breathing out every once in a while, and then I would go, nope, don't do that. Just back off, relax. Only you can go as hard as you can until you start having to purse your lips on the out breath. And once you hit that, then that's too hard. And so I was using that, and it worked really good. And then, let's see, now my notes get kind of out of order here. So let me just go out of order stuff. And that way I can get it done right. I ended up getting first place to average 21.5 miles per hour. Some of the pavement was kind of rough. There were some big hills and unfamiliar pavement and really strong winds on the way out. And yeah, like actually really, really strong. At one point, I missed a turn, and because I made friends with another rider, he yelled at me from behind, hey, you missed a turn. We were the last two left, and the reason he saved me is because earlier in the ride, even though I'm so competitive and I wanted to win this thing, I was still friendly to everybody, and I didn't have my game face on like too seriously. I was smiling, I was nice, and whenever anybody talked to me, I'd talk to them back and ask how they were doing, where are you from, and oh, it's going to be a great day and stuff like that. And then that way, when I screwed up and I needed help, they helped me. And that's why one reason you don't want to be like too crazy out there, because you're going to mess up and you're going to depend on other people to help you. And if you're a jerk, then people are going to want to watch you crash and burn, and they're not going to help you. A weird thing is I wore full gloves and arm coolers to protect me from the sun. And these gloves I decided to wear were like skiing glove liners. So they're real thin. They're black, which isn't great. But it wasn't really all that hot that day. It was just kind of average. It's like 70 at the most, maybe 65, 70 degrees. Maybe 75, probably. And with the wind flowing over them, it was nice. But anyway, I got no sun exposure on my arms or hands being out there all day, or until noon, which was really great. The only thing I noticed was a little bit troublesome getting a grip on things to open them. So if I needed to open a water bottle or I needed to work with the bike computer, not having my fingertips was a bit of a pain. So not really sure about that all the way around. It worked during this, but who knows for real. The guy that I made friends with on the ride, his name is Michael, and he's from Dallas. And I told him about ZenTri, and he's a cool dude, and he's just getting into triathlon, and but he comes from a running background, and he was really badass. Actually, I was really impressed. I started feeling a little bit crappy around 50 miles in. So what I did was I felt both weak and my stomach hurt a little bit, I think. So what I did is I tried diluting the fuel. I had my fuel in concentrate, right? And this is in the Starkey interview where he said he's got a concentrated fuel bottle, but you need to dilute it before you drink it, right? So what I would take a sip off the concentrated fuel, and before swallowing it, I would take a big chug of water. So I got both, and this is hard to do, so it's not my favorite plan. I would get both in my mouth and then swish it around so it would dilute it some, and then swallow that. And that actually worked really well. In my notes, it says, that may be your big ticket, ! Okay, and then, about halfway through the ride, maybe 2/3 through the ride, I started getting a leg cramp. And I never get leg cramps, but I always have salt in my fuel. And like I said, I lost my special bottle, my slow fuel, that had the salt in it. And I was like, oh, crap. Well, it turns out the salt stick dispenser that they make, I had it zip tied to my aero bars. And it's the one where you twist it and a capsule pops out the front of it eventually. And it was on there from my last race. And I was like, oh, holy cow. And so I twisted out a capsule and I crushed it up in my mouth until it broke open. And then I got that salty flavor in my mouth. A lot of it's mental and triggering that helps distract your body from the cramp. And then swished it around my mouth and got my mouth real salty, and then swallowed it with even more water. And then I swear it helped with the cramp. Like it kept the cramp away. And then about an hour later, I did it again with another salt pill. So thank you, Salt Stick. That thing really works, and it saved my ass. That could have been, like a game changer for me. It's hard to tell because I didn't have, with it or without it. I just did it, but it was so cool that it was right there on my bars and super convenient. I mean, oh my gosh, I was like super stoked. It was one of those things where you're like, holy crap, I got a solution to this problem. This is really neat, and yeah, it really worked. And on the way back, had a tailwind, right? And in triathlon, what you do is you get in aero position into the wind, and you burn a little bit hotter, a little bit harder into the wind to get through the wind faster, or up a hill or whatever faster. And then on the way back, you can sit up with the tailwind and relax your back and let that do the work for you, because you're not having to fight as much resistance, so you're sailing along at a faster speed. And so I was sitting up a bunch on the way back and pedaling a whole lot easier and recovering from the effort going into the wind. And there's studies that show that that's actually the fastest way to cover a course. It's really cool. This big article in I forgot the name of the magazine, Bike Radar or something like that, about how the top time trialists know this, and it really works. It's the fastest thing. And on occasion on the way back, I'd have to take a turn into a headwind again, and I would just get right back into the aero position and make like a turtle and get down low and start pedaling harder into that to get through it, and then relax again when I had the tailwind back again. And I was riding 808 front and rear, and on the 808 rear, I had a disc wheel cover, which only costs like $80, and you can it's so much cheaper than a disc wheel, and you can slap it on any size wheel. And oh my gosh, with the crosswinds, it was like sailing out there. It was so cool. I dropped the last guy, probably Michael, at mile 70. Eventually, he couldn't keep up anymore, and so then I was solo from mile 70 to mile 101 or 102, however many miles it was. And that was pretty rad, being finally all by myself, which I really enjoy. Let's see, I had 3 and then 2 guys drafting off my back until 60 miles. I was always in the front fighting the wind as the lead rider, which I really enjoy. And hold on, I've got dogs. What's going on? Okay, I don't know what's going on. And then, my bike computer messed up. I went a little bit too hard at first, but I had to have the map on my watch because I didn't know where to go. And it was cool being the guy with the map. I knew where all the turns were except for that one. I just plain missed it. I would have figured it out, but after a few minutes, and that was super great of Michael to help me out on that one. And then, my tip is don't connect your Garmin 510. Don't connect your Garmin 510 to a computer the day before the race, or if you do, turn it back on and watch what happens and make sure that everything's still there. You're probably going to have to pair it with everything all over again. All your screens are going to be messed up. Having a map, doing the map feature for navigation on my watch was awesome, and my notes has it in all caps. It was really, really, really cool to know where to turn ahead of time. I mean, I've never done that before for a race, and it was so useful because I didn't know there's a good half of that course that I've never really ridden a bike on, and I wasn't familiar with the area. I tried kind of memorizing the course some, and then I just gave up after a while looking at the map back home and realized I just have to do this. It could be make or break if I have this map with me, and you're riding, kind of hard and fast. So where, you're not going to pull a map out of if you pull a map out of your back, you don't know where you are on the map, on a paper map. But on the digital map on your watch or on your bike computer, where you are versus where the course is. And the race had tons of turns, and it had nobody at the turns, just little signs with an arrow. This is way out in the countryside, so you're totally on your own. One other guy said he took a wrong turn and went quite a ways, so that was super cool. So basically, if you're doing an Ironman and you want to put the map course on your watch or your bike computer, one thing I noticed after the event, the next day I went for a run or two or a bike ride or something like that. And my watch gave me an alert that it was running out of memory. So it doesn't have room for really long stuff for you to store in there. So you may just do just the bike ride, or something like that. But be wary that there's actually a size limit, a space issue. Let's see. When I finally broke free of the other group and was riding by myself, that really felt awesome, especially because there was a pace car in front of me, and this is the second event that I've ever done on the bike where I actually had a pace car in front of me because I was in the lead for a big chunk of it, and that makes you feel so cool, almost like you should be on TV or something like that. That was really, really neat. If you ever need motivation to train or to do those intervals or whatever, just think that if you do it, there's a chance that you might end up being the guy or girl in the lead, and you got a pace car in front of you, because it really does happen. It's for real. It's out there. It's so cool. One of the cool things about being alone out in the front is you can ride just how you want to ride. You quit reacting to everybody else and thinking about everybody else around you. You can be with yourself and do everything the way you want to do it. It's really weird. And I hear pros talk about that in Ironmans. The difference between, being in a pack is good because you're kind of drafting. I mean, legal distance drafting, you're with the group and stuff. But also being in the front, off the front, is fantastic as well. Because you can ride the way you want to, and you can do the right things at the right time when you need to, not reacting to everybody else, which is pretty cool. Let's see, doing a big bike event was really cool because I saw so many of my friends. Doing a local one was especially cool because I saw so many of my friends that live in my town that are from all different walks of life, that are just cyclists or just this or just that, or just, they do triathlon, or they're friends of Emily's, or, they're friends from work, or it was just all around like super, super cool. and I don't know why, but in my notes here it says, for Ironman, you got to learn to ride alone. There is a thing where you see people's race reports and stuff where in Ironman, where they say, or training reports where they say, it got real lonely out there on the bike. Well, now you need to get over that. You need to get to the point where you enjoy riding alone, or being alone doesn't bother you, because it's just weird to me that people get like that. That they get caught. They're out in the wind and they're riding. There's nobody to draft off of, and then they get desperate and start thinking, "This is terrible. This is terrible." And actually, that's a mindset that is a choice. You can learn to actually enjoy being by yourself and not having the shelter of other riders or other riders in sight. Just riding by yourself, it's just so cool and free, and you feel like you're actually accomplishing something, and it's pretty neat. I did stop around 60 miles. I stopped there's this aid station, and I got off my bike, peed in a porta-can. I filled up my Camelback with water, and that was the only station that I stopped at. And then at the little table they had there were some locals there from Lake Somerville area, and I asked if they had any gels, because I was a little bit worried about running out of fuel. And they go, "What are gels?" And I go, "Okay, never mind." And we both laughed. And I got back on my bike and started pedaling away. And immediately, within a quarter of a mile, there's a 4 railroad track wide railroad track crossing. And we had to sit there for probably like 15 minutes. I'm not kidding. For trains to decouple, recouple, move back and forth, left and right, more trains, left. It's like a train rail yard, and we were just there forever. And a couple riders caught up with me, and that was crappy, man. I was like, I wasn't pissed. I mean, I was kind of like, we were like, what? Oh. And then it got to be funny, and then it got to be not funny, and then it got to be funny again, and then eventually it all cleared up, and then we got to cross the railroad tracks, which was... they said next year, either they're going to alter the course or give people tokens for however many minutes they were caught behind or something, stuck at the railroad track or whatever. But I wasn't really that worried about it. And then it stops me and it stops everybody else that's kind of with me. So we're all kind of in the same boat. It didn't really bother me that much. While we were waiting on the train, I did something pretty cool. I had spray-on sunscreen in my jersey pocket, and I pulled it out and applied sunscreen to my face and the tops of my legs and my calves. And I kind of sprayed my arm coolers as well a little bit, and and I never ended up getting any sunburn or too much sun or anything like that. So it was actually really cool. I made good use of the time, And... let's see. I have notes for next time, because it seems like they're going to be next year too. I'm totally going to sign up for it again. My biggest note is make double sure, in caps, your bike computer is working, so you don't go as hard at the beginning by accident because you couldn't see your heart rate in watts. And then my other notes, I got 3 other notes. Don't go quite as hard off the front at the beginning. Because I guess I struggled a little bit in the middle and on the way back from being a little bit tired, and had to kind of rest more than I wanted to kind of recuperate. And then I ended up being fine, but I was redlining it and didn't know it. I hear it says definitely wear a Camelback again. That was smart. And change up how you do water and fuel. Losing that bottle was total bullshit, is what it says in my notes. So I need to figure out, what was going on with that, and why that bottle flew out of my behind the seat cage, because I can't have that happen in Ironman Canada. That's crap. But definitely that interview with Starkey, where he says he takes that concentrate and he squirts a certain amount of it into between the aero bars bottle. He said he used Torrans. That way it dilutes into that, and he drinks that. That's really, really smart. And I think that's what I'm going to do next time around. So in general, those are my notes. I was definitely, like I was talking about the Stark interview, I'm super competitive when I decide to be, and I'm very planning and meticulous about what I do. And sometimes it works, and it looks like this time it worked. I totally took advantage of the situation. And, I talked to my bike shop a few days later about something else in general. I was on the phone with them, asking them about the bike build, and they go, "Man, you won that thing." And I go, "Yeah, thanks. It was great. I had a great time." And they're like, "Yeah." So they noticed, and it made for a fun conversation. So it all paid off. Every once in a while, all the work pays off at some point. All right. So that's the wrap up, and let's move on to the next section of the show. All right, that was a nice little wrap-up of the BCS Gran Fondo, and let's go ahead and get rolling with some donations and supporters and stuff like that before we get into the training log. And on the training log, I think I fail miserably on a run, and then I come back the next day and do a whole lot better, and I explain how and why. And why I do the podcast, I think, is in there. And it's just a bunch of random stuff, lots of tips and tricks that are very valuable. So let's go ahead and say that we've got a donation from Tyler Moyer and Peter Salzin, who actually I coach, and I got him started using a drag chute, and he loves it. Had a guy at the pool today just flip out over the drag chute. Longtime donor Spiros Fetsis, Richard Trago, Joseph Dieber, Dwayne Morin, Boki from Claremont. And that's a cool name. I've never heard that one before. What's up, Joseph Rogalski sent in a donation. James Von Hippel and Houston Marsh. The name always throws me because Houston's the Bayou City, and his name is Houston Marsh. That's kind of funny. And then I'm always, when I see a note from him, I'm always like, "Is that Brandon Marsh? Is Houston Marsh? What's going on?" Oh, and I had a chat with Brandon Marsh over Twitter the other day, which was pretty cool. It seems like he's doing all right. And let's see, the other thing that we need to mention. Oh, well, you can help donate to the show on the side. There's a link to PayPal where you can send in a one-time or recurring donation that way. But what's really interesting is people keep telling me I need to start up Patreon, and we may switch over completely to Patreon instead of these donations, because on Patreon I can put stuff behind a paywall, and you donate to the show, well, you're behind the paywall, and I can put tons of stuff up there that if people that are really interested would really like, and it's worth it, to put it up there. So I've got 2 years of backlog shows. I need to put some more years up there. I don't think anybody's finished it. And then the year 2011 shows are just insane, absolutely insane. And also, when I recorded the Andrew Starykowicz interview that you just heard, I put the raw version of it up behind the paywall, and I'm planning on doing that with future interviews if I think people would really like to hear them early and it's worth it. And my next interview that's coming up, that's scheduled, I haven't recorded it yet, I always should say it's scheduled, is Matt Fitzgerald, the author of Iron War and Diet Cults, and he's got a new book, I believe it's called How Bad Do You Want It? I've been listening to it on audible.com, and it's really good, really, really good. It's the details of sports psychology and what drives you, and by using examples of people throughout endurance sport history. And so it's both storytelling and facts and psychology, like all wrapped into one. And it's like 8 hours long, and it's on audible.com. And I'm really enjoying listening to it. And it's read by Matt, so it's pretty cool. So we're going to have him on either the next episode or the one after that. But anyway, I'm probably going to take that interview and the raw version of it and put it up on Patreon. So you can go to patreon.com, and it's either /ZenTri. I'm not at the internet right now, so I can't look. Or patreon.com/ZenTriathlon. I can't remember which one it is. But when people sign up to support through Patreon, I get a message as well. And here are some. Ben S. sent in a note, and it said, "Hey Brett, thanks for all the hard work you put into creating the show every week. I am new to long-distance triathlon ultra marathons and have become quickly captivated by the training and sense of accomplishment. Why didn't I figure out I loved endurance sports sooner? ? Anyway, your training tips are insightful, and the interviews are a fascinating look behind people's success. Love the show and glad to support it." That was a really nice email. Oh, and by the way, on Twitter, I'm on twitter.com as ZenTriathlon. I don't know how I've stumbled across it, but some of my oldest blog posts on ZenTriathlon, I found the one of when I did my second ever Iron Baby. So the first year I did Iron Baby as a self-supported Ironman, my son was born 2.5 months early, and I was going to do this race that was Ironman distance called the True Texan or something like that. And oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't do that because, man, that thing would have been hilly. It was out in the hill country in central west Texas. Well, they just call it the hill country around here. Northwest of Austin in Bernie. It's brutal out there. And man, that would have been a mistake. But anyway, when Kai was born early, he had to be in the hospital for a while. And then once we got everything kind of settled down, I went off and did my own Ironman to show that if somebody would let me do something, because of the dad, they just tell you to sit tight and you get kind of frustrated. And I thought I had trained for an Ironman. I really hadn't trained anywhere near enough. And so I went out and did an Ironman and dedicated it to the effort I was seeing everybody else put in to help save my son. And I called it the Iron Baby. That was year one, and it took me like 17 and a half, 18 hours or something. I don't know. I just had no idea what I was doing, and it was really rough, really bad. And then the link I posted on Twitter this Thursday was the one to the second year I did it. I've done 10 of them now. I've done one almost every year. And I skipped 1 year for Wisconsin in 2007, Ironman Wisconsin. And and Kai's 11. So yeah, I've done 10, I think. And the one up there is photos, pictures, the weather graph, my bike, a description, super detailed. Well, not super, medium detailed about what I did and how long it took. And it took me 15 and a half hours. And the equipment I used, and the Garmin 201 or something like that I was using, and an Ironman Timex watch for the swim, and how I got it done. And it's so cool, man. So look for that link that I posted on Twitter back, what's today's date? May 5th is probably when I posted it. It's just super crazy cool. So since then, I have been, and I'd already started doing the podcast. I have been giving training tips and how to get things done since way back then. And my whole point is that I went from probably would have been disqualified from doing my very first Ironman for taking too long, just by like a few minutes. Or I would have just come under the wire or something. I don't know. But I did it totally on my own, and taking 17, 18 hours or something to getting them down to like 11 hours, and then doing an Ultraman and all that stuff over time. And I documented it with tips and tricks as I've gotten better over the years, over 10, 11 years. And it's awesome. Right from the beginning, I went back and looked at that thing. Right from the beginning, I was trying to describe to people how I did it so that other people can do it too. And also my point being that I used to suck at it, and just with dedication and really wanting it and trying to improve and consistency year after year after year, I finally got to where I've been USAT Nationals for the shorter stuff, and then longer stuff like Ironmans and whatever, half Ironmans. I'm in the Ironman does this like all world athlete thing that's like the top whatever percent. And I've been ranked up in there over the past few years, and it's so awesome that it's possible. It's absolutely possible. And I did not come from a biking or a running background. I came from a swimming background. So my biking and running was pretty bad. That bike in year 2 was a 16 mile per hour average, 16.0 mile per hour average, and I probably walked most of the marathon. And so now way better now, and you can too. So keep listening to the podcast as I keep trying to build the triathlon community and break down and dispel the mysteries of how to do this. It's actually pretty simple, and there's just a million ways that it's pretty simple. So show after show after show, you can kind of start putting together the puzzle for yourself. You have to do it. You shouldn't do it exactly the way I'm doing it. But you get an idea of how somebody's doing it, and then you can start doing it yourself. Or maybe you're almost there, or you're kind of there, and you're looking for that bits of information. This is the show for it, and I'm glad to be doing it. All right, Matt Mahone sent in or supported through Patreon. Brad Hammond, what's up, dude? And Dan Gray, and Sam Pearson, and Jason Eagleston. Was asking, he did a Patreon supporting donation, whatever they call it, and he asked about MCT oil. You go to the grocery store and buy coconut MCT oil, and he asked, he said, I hear you use it all the time, or talking about it all the time. How much do you use? And I said, honestly, I wrote him an email back, and I said, honestly, I don't use it all that much. I've gone way too deep in the all high fat all the time and not enough carbs, and that makes you feel like crap. And then I backed off, and then you can get back addicted to carbs again. So there's kind of like a middle ground in between. And I really liked what Chris Haig said a few episodes ago, where you use MCT oil sparingly, kind of like to make fuel digest just a tiny bit better. But be careful. Rich Roll, who's a great friend of ZenTri, I'll never forget him saying that he's just not that big into oils. That once you break the oil away from the food, well, now it's kind of like a processed food, and it's not all that great for you. But if the oil is in the food, say like nuts, the fat, the oil, nuts, avocado, olives, well, now you're getting your fat, and it's kind of with the food, and now it's like a whole food. And it's a little bit better for you. But anyway, you can Gatorade powder, maltodextrin powder, if that's like your fuel, you shake it up in a bottle, and it's high-powered, rocket fuel, super sugary. You could add, I think the breaking point's a little bit different for different people, but it seems like a tablespoon per hour apparently it lubes up your guts, and it makes you just crap out your insides and right into your shorts. So that's probably too much. And maybe even half a tablespoon might be too much per hour. Over time, it just starts to add up. If you're doing like a 4-hour ride, now you're taking in 2 tablespoons of MCT oil if you're doing half. So I would experiment with it. The whole thing with MCT oil, MCT stands for medium chain triglyceride. So it's not it's not a saturated fat, and it's not whatever the other kind of fat is. It's in between. It's medium, and it goes through your intestines and can be processed by the liver into energy, separate from the channel that is all the sugary stuff, right? So it allows you to get in extra calories on top of the carbs that you're taking in. So wouldn't it be nice if you could get, while you're racing, to get in an extra 50 calories per hour or something like that, on top of the sugary stuff? Because you only have so many channels to import, fuel in with. You got different carb channels, and then maybe for some people, or a lot of people, this MCT medium chain oil channel could be used to absorb more calories to give you more energy. And then the problem with heavier fats is with different fats is apparently you can't digest them fast enough, and they just kind of bog you down, supposedly. Experts say, and professional triathletes a lot of times say, it's just skip the fat in your fuel, because you got to be going really slow for you to absorb it. So let's say you're doing Ultraman just to finish, or you're doing a 100-mile trail run just to finish, and you're going to keep your heart rate like super, super low, and you're going to walk a lot. Or let's say on Uberman, that we're talking about, on the bike, and you're doing a major downhill section, you're just kind of coasting along, then you would, go into the different fats, because now your body's relaxed enough where it can actually digest them, theoretically. So there's all that. All right. Whew. That's enough of the donation stuff. Don't forget about, did I mention Hornet Juice already in a commercial during the interview? Anyway, go check out Hornet Juice. Stuff is awesome. Absolutely awesome. It's so great. And let's go ahead and get started with the training log. Here we go.
You are entering the ZenTri training log zone. Huneli.
Hi everybody, my name is Brett. I'm a triathlete.
I decided it's time I got some friends more suited to my status.
But Joe, we've been friends for years.
Hey, we all make mistakes. Come on, dudes, let's go exercise! Exercise! Yeah! I'm gonna do sit-ups till I poop myself!
All right, welcome to a new training log. Start date, May 2nd. Whew. Man, I am super stoked about this Starkey interview that I got in, and gonna post it up on Patreon, which is super cool. And let's see, did a lot of swimming this morning, really tired in the legs, so you go to the pool and knock out some upper body, specifically with the drag chute, which I love. You can get one on finis.com. Check it out. It's really awesome. It really works the upper body, allows your lower body to chill, which is nice. You need a little break. And also it provides resistance, so you can torque it up when you don't want to drive your heart rate up, but you want to provide, torque, kind of like swimming uphill. Very, very cool, because otherwise, to get that much resistance, you'd have to swim at a fast pace, and that also drives your heart rate up and requires a lot of breathing. It's kind of like if you go lift weights, you're not really going to be aerobic, right? You're going to be anaerobic, but you're improving yourself. So this is kind of like a hybrid between the two. That's my sales pitch on the drag chute. And then this weekend, got in a bunch of running. I was cruising along, feeling great, and then I decided to put Zoe on the leash, and she's a dragger. And even though she's lightweight, you pop the leash to get her to stop. Well, Kai is out ahead on his bike, so she wants to chase him. And I went home at lunch today, and she's dug up some stuff, and that'll be fun. I took pictures of it, and I'm going to send it to Emily and say, look, your new daughter is a gardener. Check her out. She's not going to like that because she tore up a bush. It's pretty funny. And then the cool thing about running near your house is you got to get over the belief that once you start running, you can't stop. You can swing back by the house, drop off the dog, pick up more water, whatever it takes. It all counts. So that is, once I got over that belief that a lot of people, I was coaching somebody start running. And they're like, well, when I run too far, it hurts. And I'm like, well, stop running, walk. People are in this belief system that once they start running, they got to keep running and keep running even faster. And no, you can mix in walking. You can cut it short. Swing by your house and get water. There's all different kinds of things you can do that will help you out and give you better workouts. The new ZenTri Trek Speed concept is supposedly being wrapped up, which I'm very excited about. Maybe we'll have that soon. Kai keeps asking me. The Ultegra Di2 shifting is being shipped in, and then they got to put it on. But I got financing. I'm having to take out a loan, guys, to get this bike. But it's like the one thing that I'm into is cycling that costs any money. So it's okay with me to spend money on this. And speaking of costs and stuff, the crew is starting to get together for Uberman. I got three guys actually. Morgan, Eric, and Alex are all talking about helping out with Uberman October 20th, 5, 6, 7 days in California. And go check it out, uberman1.com, number1.com, to get the full gist. And yeah, I'm starting to need to get that crew together, so I need people to get in touch with me and tell me what they think. Oh, and the coolest thing was I got Kai to bike with me on a trainer next to me. He's got a little road bike. Put him on his road bike next to my tri-bike, and we rode side by side on the trainer for a while, and I let him play Forza, which is a car racing game, while he rode his bike. And that was fun. I took a little video and posted that on Instagram or Twitter, ZenTriathlon on Twitter and Instagram. And I said, okay, it's been 10, 15 minutes of playing. He's just sitting upright. He's not even trying hard. He's not breaking a sweat or anything. And I said, okay, now let's switch it over to a TV show. And what we do is we pedal easy during the show, and then during the commercials, put it in a harder gear and pedal to that. And that'll be a little interval. And he said, okay. So all together, we rode an hour side by side. What were we watching? We were watching something really funny. Some kind of funniest home videos. And we were cracking up, like watching this stuff. And then it would get to commercial, and then we'd say, all right, let's buckle down. And just all you got to do is put it in just one harder gear. And then that's your little interval. And then you go back to riding easy again, watching the show. And just back and forth like that. And when it hit an hour, he was done. And I kept going for another half hour. I'd also run for 2 hours that morning, except for Zoe hurting my foot, making my foot hurt by pulling me over a little bit while running. Everything was really, really great. And I have to say, again, there really is something to the MAF method, the maximum aerobic, I always want to say function, maximum aerobic function, where it's 180 beats minus your age is a good starting place. You can go a little bit higher by a few beats to 5 beats if you've got tons of aerobic experience and you're in really good shape, and a few beats less if you're out of shape, trying to get into shape. So for me, the breaking point seems to be about 140 beats per minute. And I'm sitting there riding. As long as I keep it in the 135 range, 136, 137, 138, I can fuel and pedal. And that fuel puts out lots of torque, feels good. Everything's going well. And then when I go over 140, heart rate, it has a limited time before you're gonna explode because you can't eat anymore. At that point, more blood goes to your muscles than goes to your stomach, or I don't know if it's more, but the amount of blood that now goes to your muscles and instead of your stomach makes it so that you can't digest fuel, and the fuel starts backing up and your muscles start getting depleted, and also you start getting sick to your stomach, all that stuff. So the real trick in endurance is to get really good at just below that heart rate. Because at just below that heart rate, you can fuel and you can hammer like pretty good and go for forever because you're fueling. And once you get over that, your time is limited, and that's okay. If you're doing an interval or you're doing a race and you're going up a hill and you need to push it to get up over that hill, but you want your heart rate to come back down again so that you can digest the fuel and keep on trucking. It's magical. It's really, really cool. It's so cool sitting on the treadmill or on the trainer and watching it in effect. If you go back, if you look at Strava, yeah, who am I on Strava? Well, I'm ZenTri Brett or something on Strava. It's easy to find me, Brett Blankner on Strava. If you look out for the workout on May 1st on the bike, you can see where the last hour of that hour and a half, I'm dancing around kind of the 140 heart rate, up and below and up and below. The power's awesome, but but you could tell I'm kind of like feeling up and around there to kind of see what I can do, and it's a perfect place to be training yourself. It's really, really cool, because the more you do it, the better you get at it. All right, that's enough. I need to get into W to the ERK. Out, bang! I'm out running, and actually I quit. I'm on a undeveloped road. There's going to be houses on this in a couple years, and there's woods on either side. Every once in a while we might hear crickets and tree frogs and stuff, cicadas. There's some people way over there. My watch is freaking out. It's like, what are you doing? Why aren't you running? But I started running. My legs felt really weak and wobbly, and muscles had pain in them. So I did the difficult thing and quit. I ran almost 30 minutes, and I just decided, you know what, I'm done. Legs hurt too much to keep going. Had symptoms the past couple days of legs hurting. Had a cramp almost in my, hold on, I'm about to sneeze. Had a cramp in my left thigh, upper thigh, in the quad, and that was unusual. Not a cramp, a strain. Like it started to, like I almost pulled a muscle. I had a calf strain the other day that I had to work through, and now when running, where the muscles hurt and then your legs start feeling wobbly, like you're starting to lose control of them a little bit, that's bad. Bad stuff. Here comes a car. So I cut it short, but I do have an upside. I wanted to share a podcast with you. I'm listening to The One You Feed. It's a pretty decent podcast. I listen to it now and then. It kind of depends on the subject. And there's an interview with Dan Harris, and it's about how to communicate effectively. And these guys are big into Buddhism and Zen and calmness and coolness. And it's really cool, the conversation about how to communicate correctly. So a lot about Zen is to say the right thing at the right time. It's kind of like if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. I'm walking through concrete right here, big concrete mess. And so you don't say anything harmful. You tell the truth, but if the truth is hurtful or harmful, then you try not to say anything or say something else. You know, because if you always spoke the truth, well, the truth could be mean to somebody or damaging or hurtful, and so you don't say it then. And then I've noticed a lot of these podcasts that are about achieving happiness and Zen and whatever are by middle-aged people, mostly guys, but there's some women ones too. But I think there's something when guys, and maybe girls, but definitely guys, I'm not a girl, I can't speak for y'all, but we reach middle age and we get a shift, like we start learning the strategy of how the value of better communication and how the world gets better. Start getting a little bit of wisdom. Wisdom is experience. And you can't have experience until you reach a certain age. And a lot of these podcasts are by people that were really frustrated at one point and figured out, or they're on the path trying to figure out something, a better way in life. I know with ZenTri, I started it because I had my whole life pulled out from under me and I had to start all over again. I was living in San Diego. I had my dream job, dream city, dream life. Things were going good. Whole thing went down the crapper. I had to start all over again and move back to a tiny little prairie town with nothing outdoorsy anywhere near around. I was absolutely miserable. So I started practicing Zen, and coming to terms with things and finding enjoyment in right here, right now. And as soon as I started doing that, well, not as soon, but it took me a while to kind of figure out what these Zen people are even talking about. Then seeing the beauty in everything, anything and everything all around, I started to appreciate really where I was and what I was doing. And so now I'm a middle-aged guy doing a podcast, trying to explain to myself what happened, I think, by talking out loud about it. And there's a lot of really big podcasts out there where the hosts admit the whole reason they started was so that they could have a reason to have interviews with people that are that could help them. And that's what I did. That's what we're all doing. It's a great thing. All right. I had to cut my run a little bit short because I got a late start. Because I had to help Kai build a first order TIE fighter out of Legos, which was really cool. I'm going to post a picture of that on Instagram. All right, that's it. Out, Bing. I'm almost to my house. Oh, there's something I should add. I've been doing podcasts since the very, 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 very beginning. Way before iTunes even saw them on their radar. Before there was an iTunes, maybe? Before there was an iPhone. Any of that stuff. And the very first podcasts that were out there were a lot of the biggest ones were people just talking to themselves about what they were doing. And one of the biggest ones, I'll never forget, the host said that he was visiting a psychologist or psychiatrist, probably psychologist, and that he told the psychologist that he was recording his thoughts as a show, as a podcast, you know. Of course, nobody knew what that was, but, you know, for a internet radio show for everybody. He's just walking around his apartment talking about what he was working on as kind of a tech show. And the psychologist said, that's a really good idea. And the whole theory is, if you write something out or if you talk something out into a recorder, then you kind of have to formulate your random scattered bullshit thoughts that are kind of loosely connected into a coherent message. And when you verbalize them or write them down, you're forced to actually look at them. And then when they either make sense, you're like, okay, I'm going to stick with that. Or if they don't make sense, then you either keep them or drop them. And it's actually a self-improvement technique. You know, that's kind of like what journaling does. So the very early podcasts were kind of like, a lot of them still are just, this one are kind of journals about what's going on. And it's just as much for the host as it is for the audience. It's really interesting. So don't start a podcast unless you have major issues, or else you'll pod fade. All right, that's it. I gotta go inside. Out, Ping. Back at the house. All right. It is the next morning, Thursday morning, after last night's run failure. I went to bed, ate some ice cream. Feeling sorry for myself, but not too bad. And then went to bed at around 9:30, 9:45. A really good thing to make you feel better about yourself, scientific studies show, is go to reddit.com, REDDIT, and look at funny videos or GIFs, animated GIFs section, subreddits is what they're called. Makes you feel better, makes you laugh. Went to bed around 9:30, maybe 10, and then woke up at 4:30, got my ass in gear, felt, kind of jogged around the living room, see how the legs felt. They felt a lot better, had more energy, just all around better. And went for a run and got rid of carrying a water bottle in my hand and said, put it on my waist. Let's go inside. Here's a little doggy. Hello, how are you little freaks doing? Oh, that's Zoe. Okay, I'm here. It's all good. It's all cool. And what did y'all tear up? Nothing yet? Not here by yourselves long enough? And I ran 9.5 miles And the last mini miles, maybe 5 or so, I was running sub 10. The last few, sub 9. Just jogging along, really paying attention to form. I've got plantar fasciitis in my feet a little bit, but I've got a heel spur because I've had plantar fasciitis so long in my left foot. So I'm paying attention to form. What makes it hurt? What makes it not hurt? So I kind of figured out that running downhill, I lean back and that bangs my heel into the ground, and I think it activates my calves differently to slow myself down. And that's also why running with a dog that's pulling me, I have to run leaning back a little bit, and that's pushing back, and that makes my heel hurt. And that's why I haven't been doing that for a few runs, and I noticed that helps a lot. And then so really paying attention to form. And then also after I get about 6-7 miles in, I start getting a little bit tired, form starts to change. I start leaning back instead of leaning forward. And so I mess with my upper body and head position. They can be different. You can lean forward with your chest, keep your head back. You can keep your chest straight up, lean your head forward a little bit, do stuff with your shoulders. But the whole goal is like on the bike, you want to find a very neutral position so that your feet land mostly flat and you kind of roll over the front and you're not breaking yourself with your heel, and but also not pushing off too much with your forefoot. You want to distribute the force. Distribute the force evenly, and then that will give you a longer run with less pain, because force spread out over a wide area won't hurt you anywhere near as bad as force pinpointed in a smaller area. And I'm really proud of myself. So the lesson is, you feel like crap, cancel your run, get a good amount of sleep. Cancel your workout, get a good amount of sleep. Try it out again tomorrow. It may take a day and a half, and things will be good. All right. Now I got to get my stuff together here. I'm taking care of the house this morning, and got to get to the W to the ERK. My Garmin's buzzing at me. Hey, I want to save my workout. Blah, blah. Let's see what I did. Hold on. My first mile was pretty slow because I was running a little bit uphill and warming up first few miles. But I don't really count those. 9.5 miles in 1 hour and a half. Averaged a 9:26 pace. Feels pretty good. Feel great. Okay, out, bang. Hello. All right, on my way to go swim. Had a couple interesting things happen. One was I had a Twitter back and forth real short with Amelia Boone, Boone, and she's a superstar Spartan beast champion, and becoming an ultra runner, and then ended up breaking her leg while training she got into the Western States 100, and very typical thing, getting new into something big and long, and you end up injuring yourself from overtraining, I guess. Kind of depends. I'm not her. I don't know everything she's doing. Another thing is, it's really interesting, Chris McCormick, I remember him saying, he's whatever time champion of Kona and all kinds of stuff, that when people show up at races and they're too skinny, they're too fragile, they're not going to do well. And a couple of recent pictures of Amelia Boone looked like she was really, really thin, which helps with ultra running, it helps with running, but ultra running, the best athletes tend to be a little bit more, have a little bit more weight on them, because you got to be tough, to go 100 miles on trails. So a little bit more, like a greyhound is super skinny to go really fast for a short distance. And they're a bit fragile, and that's okay because they're not going very far. But a Dalmatian is bred to run 20-something miles a day, for real. That's what they're bred for. and they're a little bit stockier, heavier set, so that they can withstand the pounding that they're going to take. And I noticed in a couple pictures of Amelia that she looked a little bit thin, and it's just advice out there to people that, man, you're training for this ultra endurance stuff. Be careful of getting too thin, because your resources for repair are stretched too thin, and then you can end up getting injured. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying it was just a casual observation, totally from the armchair, and, you know, not worth anything. But it just made me think of that. The times I've gotten too thin, then you feel weak and tired, and then you can end up injuring yourself. And let's see, a little bit of Zen for you is just now, while driving to the pool, I take off my rings. Sometimes, I've set my ring down, my Aggie ring, which is, you know, a school ring, which if you go to Texas A&M, you wear your Aggie ring for the rest of your life. It's a thing. I know, it doesn't make sense, but A&M is a little bit of a weird school. And the ring rolled off of where I set it on my dashboard for a second, down under the seat of the car. And it's dark. There's literally nothing I can do to find it. I could pull over right now. It's bothering me. So there's two choices. I could either pull over and find it now to end the agony. It's really interesting being self-observant and watching myself be real, this anxiety, like, where is it? Where'd it go? But at the same time, practicing, there's a right time to find it, because I'm going to stop when I get to the pool parking lot anyway. And then I can turn on more lights, be more patient in a safe place, and look for it. And that's the right time. So practicing you practice with little things, and then when the big things come, then you're better at being patient and waiting for the right time. Zen is appropriate response, right? So I am now at the parking lot, and we're going to see if we can find my ring in the bottom of my car. And that's it. I'll be back later. Out, bing. All right, I'm back. Guy just pulled up in a truck next to me. But I found it real quick. There's a trick. If you're trying to find stuff in the dark, turn off most of the lights. Something that's shiny or could be shiny, like a school ring or like glass in your tires. You turn off most of the lights, all the lights, and then use a pinpoint light, like the light on your iPhone, which is what I just did, or like a flashlight or something like that. And then look for it, and the glint will show up. It'll be, accentuated, and you can then find things more easily. And I learned this trick from looking for glass in your tires. Before every ride outside, or any ride, you should just do a spin of your tires real slowly and look for shards of glass in your tires, because it actually takes many miles of riding for glass to work itself through. And I'm organizing things here. And you'll pick up glass one ride, but it'll be the next ride eventually where it wears itself through and gives you a flat. So if you start off every ride looking for glass, and also when you're stopping for water, it's a nice time to spin your tires and look for glass. And you'll trying to get all my stuff together here. You'll notice a piece of glass and pick it out before it cuts all the way through your tube. It's pretty cool. And that's how I just found my ring that was in the bottom of my car. And then that leads me back to, shut off the microphone. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot the whole point of the Amelia Boone thing. Was with a broken leg, she's looking to swim. She posted on Twitter, hey, anybody have any tips to drive my heart rate up while swimming without, because the pool boy, she can't kick, and the pool boy is not enough, apparently, to drive her heart rate up. And I tweeted her back and said, yeah, drag shoot. Thing will drive your heart rate up real nice. And then the thing I wanted to tell everybody else on the podcast listening now is that one of the coolest things that I didn't think about until I started using the drag chute is that it makes your pool longer. You don't like it that you're in a 25-yard pool or 25-meter pool? the drag chute slows you down so much that it makes your pool actually longer, because it takes you longer to get to the other side. It makes it effectively longer, which is really cool. It turns your 25-yard pool into like a 40-yard pool. It's pretty cool. All right, out, bang. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up the show. I went by the bike shop and checked on the new Trek that they're putting together for me, the Trek Speed Concept with Ultegra electronic DI2, Shimano DI2 shifting. And the mechanic had it up on the stand and was assembling it, putting it together. It was funny, a coworker of mine was in that bike shop over the weekend and said, there was a bike in there for $3,800. I said that to myself going, yeah, the one I'm getting is even worse than that. But the cool thing about the Trek is all the fit options, and oh man, I can't wait to have it and on the show and going over the electronic shifting and sharing that with the audience over whether it's a plus or a minus and how much it is, plus or minus, whether you should get it or not or save your money. I'm really into it because having the shifting out on the handles, out on the bullhorns, the handlebars, where your brake levers are. I can't wait to experience that after all these years. I first started out doing triathlons on a Schwinn Latour, like a 1986 or something like that, Schwinn Latour, where the shifting was on the down tube. And of course, shifting had evolved since then, since they made that bike. And I started doing triathlons in 2003. But that's where I started off, shifting on the down tube. That's how old I am. Of course, I was in middle school when that bike was made. And to move all the way up to electronic shifting by button clicks in two different places on the bike is, it just blows my mind, And what's coming next, man? What's coming next? Who knows? Oh, I can't wait. All right, sorry, I'm back. I had to take a short little break there. I went home for lunch, right in that little blip, and let the new dog, checked on the new dog to make sure she hasn't dug completely under the foundation of the house. And also started watching some YouTube videos on DI2 shifting, how it's set up on triathlon bikes. And gosh, it's so cool. I'm so excited. And while I was watching those videos, I was working on Kai's cycling shoes. He's outgrown one pair of shoes into another, and what's so great about being on a kids team is they swap out bike parts and bikes. You buy stuff used because there's a few kids that are older than yours, and they want to sell their stuff. The parents want to sell their stuff. So Kai's on his second pair of cycling shoes that are carbon soled, actually, and got them both used, probably for like either nearly free or maybe $25 or $50 or $100. I doubt $100, probably $50. And I don't know, Emily got them for him. And so I was changing out those cleats, Shimano cleats, while I'm watching these videos on electronic shifting. That's what happens when you become an age grouper with kids, is you could be out for your lunchtime workout, but you're working on your own kids' stuff instead. But it's even more fulfilling, or as fulfilling than otherwise, because the stuff you're doing is helping somebody that you care about get better, and they can't do it or they won't do it, and so you're doing it for them. And then when you see them actually have fun and enjoy it and get better, then it feels good inside. It's like you had that good workout yourself. Same feeling. It's really cool. And people always want to know food stuff. It's so weird how interesting food is to everybody else. People want to know what you eat. I think people are in their minds are always comparing. What does this person eat? What does that person eat? So for lunch, I made some scrambled eggs. I did not eat, but I made 2 scrambled eggs. I ate one of them in a coffee mug in the microwave. I did avocado oil first in the coffee mug and smeared it around so the egg wouldn't stick to the coffee mug. and 2 eggs, a little bit of 2% milk, which is just what I happen to have laying around. Blend them up with a spoon, throw it in the microwave, 45 seconds, stir it up again, back in the microwave for almost 45 seconds until you see it start to almost foam out the top. It's really funny when it does it. Cook over the top of the coffee mug. The ceramic of the coffee mug re-radiates the heat back into the eggs. It's really wild. Somebody needs to make a ceramic cylinder just for cooking eggs that you can actually clean easier, because cleaning the coffee mug is a little bit difficult. The avocado oil or whatever oil, olive oil, whatever you put in it first helps, and keep stuff from sticking to it. And then let's see, I put that over we had some Spanish rice left over. So with some Spanish rice, I did one of the egg, like half of these 2 scrambled eggs with Spanish rice, some really fresh, nice salsa, pico de gallo salsa, which has got lots of little veggie bits and stuff in it, and tomatoes. It's real nice. Cilantro, all that good stuff. And then some guacamole on top of that. Stirred it all up in a bowl and ate it. And then I took the leftover egg and more of that rice and salsa and guacamole and put it in a Ziploc, sandwich-sized Ziploc bag, and it's with me right now. I'm transporting it like a bag of organs back up to work, and I'll probably snack on that again this afternoon. I'm trying to think what else I had today. When I do peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, which I really enjoy, I do either Genesis bread or Ezekiel bread. I can't remember which one's the bread company. So the bread is hardcore, super sprouted, organic, lots of seeds and nuts and stuff like that in it, and super fibery. And then the peanut butter I use is Laura Scudder, which isn't organic or anything like that, but it's just peanuts. That's all it's in it, is peanuts and salt. And instead of all this hydrogenated Jiffy Jif crap. And then I use some companies, I forgot the name of it, all fruit spread as the jelly. And that way it's got the fruit, little bits of seeds and stuff like that in it, and the fruit skin and all that. And that peanut butter and jelly sandwich will almost put you to sleep, because it's so heavy with fiber and the peanut butter fat and all that stuff. So it's really, really filling. And I keep that in a fridge at work. So that's my interesting stuff that I've eaten today. And coffee. Lots of coffee. All right. So I think that's it. Oh, the other thing was... Oh, we got a cop up ahead. Try to get over. The other thing was, when I was at the bike shop just a while ago, visiting with them about my new bike, one thing I made sure to ask was, hey, how do I take the stem and the handlebars off for bike transport? And I thought I'd ask a bike mechanic instead of trying to figure it out myself and butchering it. Hold on, I'm waiting for a car. Come on, dude, go. Just because there's a cop nearby doesn't mean you need to drive 5 miles per hour. And he said, oh, it's right here. It's these 3 bolts on the underside of the handlebars. It takes off the whole stem and everything. And I was like, cool. Okay. I wouldn't have known that right off the bat. So that's just a little tip there as well, is check with somebody who knows how to do something before you do it, especially if it's new and expensive and you're going to probably wreck it like I was going to. All right, next episode, I'm not really sure what we got. I'll be lining up guests as always and doing fun stuff. It's getting hot here in Texas, and really soon I'll be on that trek, maybe by the next episode, and we'll have some fun on it, and it'll be a lot of good content. So I really appreciate everybody supporting the show. If you've enjoyed the show and you like all the tips and tricks that I hand out on this, trying to help everybody out, then if you want, you can support the show by going over to ZenTriathlon.com, and there's a little donation button, or you can go to patreon.com/ZenTri or ZenTriathlon. I don't have it right in front of me right now. It's easy to find, and support that way. And yeah, we're good to go. All right, everybody stay safe out there. Work the uphills. cruise the downhills and keep the rubber side down. Out.